What up? This is Rashid Davis, former Chicago Bear wide receiver. Yeah, that guy. And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where they think they know everything, but they don't know jack.
We back. Welcome back. It's the podcast where we actually don't know shit. We think we know everything, but we don't know shit. But as always, our guests know shit. We have two guests today, two legends actually. The first, I'm not gonna say anything yet. I'll leave you hanging for a second. Let me introduce the All-Star team. The first piece of the All-Star puzzle. My man who knows everything and nothing at the same damn time.
At the same time, what's up?
At the same damn time. What's up with you, Playboy?
What's good, man? Hey, man, I'm just trying to make it happen, man. Good to be here. Glad to kick it off on Tuesday, man.
Yes, sir. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yes, sir.
And the second piece of the All-Star puzzle. My man who knows every single stat from every single team since the 90s. JB.
What up? Welcome.
What up,
welcome.
JB, what's good, brother?
Man, it's Tuesday, man. You know, it's the time. It's my special time of day.
It's time to get it rolling.
Absolutely.
And I am point guard QB T Nick, coolest man in the room. When I'm the only man in the room. Hey, but so we're not even gonna waste time getting into our first guest. He's a radio legend, a Chicago radio legend. He's not in Chicago anymore. I'll let him tell us where he is. I know where he is, but I'm gonna let him tell you. But Chicago radio legend, Trey the Choklit Jok. I know y'all remember Trey the Choklit Jok, boy.
Yes, sir.
Trey.
Hello, Trey.
Playboy. What's up, man?
How's it going, fellas?
All right. What's going on?
Man,
real quick, JB, what was the Chicago Bulls record in 92? Since you're the stat man. 91-92 season.
I don't remember offhand. It's like 57 wins. I think it was 57. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, he said he was the 90s stats guy. So I'm like, okay, man, hot shot. What you got?
I'm like 90%. I'm like 90%.
Okay, cool.
But cool. I said 57. I'm gonna check on that though.
Okay. All right.
So what's up, Trey?
What's up, man? How's it going?
All right, man. You look the same but older.
Yeah, that tends to happen over the years, you know.
And you got like a big kind of bird's nest going on there.
Facial hair, ladies love it. So yeah, I'm living for the ladies.
Right. So you started your radio career here. Was it on KKC?
I actually started on 88.1 WCRX. That's Columbia.
Yeah, right. CRX.
Yeah, that's okay. Columbia College. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then from there you went to Power 92?
From there, I went to GCI. I was actually doing both at the time. So I was hosting the weekend shows, and I was the associate producer for Crazy Howard McGee's morning show at the time. Then we did that for 2 years. Then I went to Power 92. So I was at GCI. I started there at first. Okay.
And you were at GCI for what? 2 years?
About 2.5 years, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
What's not Key up to these days?
I haven't talked to him in years, man.
Yeah?
I haven't spoken to him in years. I think he was still doing radio.
Okay.
I think he was still
in
doing
Chicago?
radio last I heard. No, he was he had went west, I think like San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had went with Elroy Smith, who used to run GCI. He had went out to San Francisco. And so I think Nike was one of the people that he had took with him because, you know, Nike's like, from what I remember when we were together, he was a producer. Like he was producing all of the like the parody songs you would hear on the Bad Boy show. And he would do a lot of the creative stuff for the Crazy Howard McGee Morning Show. So he was like the whiz behind all of that after Kelly G left and went to BET.
Okay. Right.
So yeah, he was like the big production guy, you know.
Okay.
Yep.
So I gotta ask.
I got an answer.
Why Colleen? Why Colleen?
Oh,
did I say that right? Clean.
Yes, Colleen.
Okay.
So I'm down here. It's like the minor leagues. I oversee. I program 3 stations, but I oversee 5 stations. So I'm operations manager. I say that I run 5, but I don't really run 5. I run 3. But I'm like the operations manager for all 5 of the stations. So
okay.
I mean, after this situation, because I run it was a classic rock station, but now it's a Spanish station. I got a country station. I got a news talk station. I have a hip hop station, and I have an R&B station. So that's 6 different stations that I'm having experience in. So, you know, after this position that I have, I like to think that I could go work or have experience to say, hey, I've done this. I've been an on-air job, morning show, you know, program director. Now I've operations manager. And I've always seen myself to be like a boss, or, you know, like I'm always, I've always been the one to like take the lead on certain things, you know, and I guess someone that some people would look up to, and you know, the advice that I've given. So I'm a born teacher, I think, you know, and so this role that I have down here in Central Texas has been it's been pretty cool down here, man. It's been pretty cool. So I left Chicago, but because of course, you know, I had worked at GCI. Then I had worked at Power 92. So where else I'm gonna go? I was too young for V103. You know what I'm saying? At the time,
right?
You know? So yeah, it's time to venture out, man. And I was like I said, I was off the air for about 3 years, and within that time, I had did a whole lot of different little jobs or whatever to, you know, pay the rent.
Right. Right.
So go ahead.
You went from cold to heat. It be hot in Texas, don't it?
Oh yeah. So I'm right outside Austin, and I'm on the Army base of Fort Hood. Yeah, it's hot. In August, it gets like 90 is the average temperature. You know,
like slavery hot.
Yeah.
Shit. God
damn. Yeah, man.
So what's it like going from that? Going from a big market like Chicago to that little tiny market in Killeen.
So at first it was a hell of a culture shock. You know what I'm saying? Hell of a culture shock. After a while though, you get kind of used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, in Chicago, I always use this example. When you go to a live remote, you know, you show up to the remote and you got your street team people. There's the truck. You know what I'm saying? It's a big production when you go into a live broadcast at a radio station. Mm-hmm. Down here, I'm driving a fucking truck. You see what I'm saying?
You are the street team.
I am the street team. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, it's different. But once you do radio, it really doesn't matter, and you'll be surprised. The market really doesn't matter where you are because of this thing called the internet. At that point now, it levels the playing field, you know, because people in Chicago listen to me online. You know what I'm saying? And so that's taken away from listeners that they have, you know what I'm saying, in Chicago. So after the birth of the internet and streaming, it kind of leveled the playing field for everything. Like I can just log on to the website if I want to listen to the Breakfast Club live every morning in New York. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So with this streaming and with the internet becoming so popular, now it doesn't really matter, you know, where you are because you're accessible by everybody. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, and this is a kind of a funny question. Have you found a new love for country?
I have. Check this out. No, that's a good question.
Great question.
I'm just being real. I mean,
yeah.
Great question.
I have learned to tolerate it.
Okay, wait, you said tolerate because it's like 9 dials with country music down there.
Yes. You know, when they play it in the club, after they play the hip hop, they'll throw on like a country set. And you got people here, the same people listening to hip hop, they're listening to country. You know, in some instances, man, we share listeners. My buddy, funny thing, he stays down in Houston now, from the west side of Chicago, former vice lord. Big wig with one of the cable companies down there. And he's Chicago West Side, do or die, Crucial Conflict, Snipers, King Von, all Chicago rappers, old and new. He sat down, but he's listening to country. And he didn't start listening to it till he got down to Texas. So am I listening to it full time? Nah. But I recognize the artist, and you know, I get some of the culture that goes along with it, because all they doing is just singing, you know, singing crazy shit, like singing about beer and having a good time, and
in my pickup truck.
Girl, you broke my heart, and you know, I'm lonely as a leopard, and that type of, you know. So yeah, I've learned to tolerate it, but it ain't my thing. You know what I'm saying? Right.
It kind of grew on you a little something.
It has. You can only hear too much Blake Shelton. You know what I'm saying?
Trey, shifting gears for a quick second. Can you walk us through like the day, a day in the life, like your normal day as a radio jock or radio personality? What's the difference? I guess DJ, radio personality.
Okay, so a radio personality is Howard Stern, Tom Joyner, Mancow, Charlemagne. A personality is somebody that provokes emotions from you. These people make you laugh. These people make you smile. These people piss you off, and they have the power to do so. They captivate you. Whereas you have a DJ, person like a, I'm trying to think of a DJ, Ryan Seacrest, or trying to think of somebody black, and I would even say
Kid Capri.
Well, that's a DJ. I mean, so radio, you got your radio DJs; those are the mix. I would call Kid Capri a mixer.
Okay.
I would call him a mixer. You have your DJs, the people that sound good over the radio, your announcers that have great voices. I'm just trying to think of, but see, this also speaks to my point, because you remember personalities and you don't remember DJs, because these are just people who talk over the music and they sound good over the music. You know, these are people you hear on like your top 40 stations, you know, that have good voices or whatever. But personalities are people who, you know, captivate the audience, that have them, you know, tuned in to what the hell they're listening to, making appointments every day to tune in to these people. So that's the difference between, in my view, as a personality and then a DJ.
So like a Steve Harvey now is a radio.
Steve Harvey is a personality, absolutely.
But Downtown Julie Brown on Series is
she's a DJ.
She's a DJ. Okay, gotcha.
Sway is a personality. You know what I'm saying? Whereas somebody like if you listening on XM, Hercules or Deja Vu, those are good sounding DJs. Okay. Now, both of these people work in radio, because you have some program directors that don't like personality radio. They don't like you to say your opinion or you know what you really think. They just want you to play music and sound good and read my liner. Keep Sweat live in concert at the United Center. Get your tickets now. That's all they want you to say.
That's kind of like what Funk Flex does now, right? Like
yeah. The Funk Flex is a supreme mixer. Like, but also you turn into Funk Flex to hear the drama, because on his show sometimes it's you know, they talking shit on Flex's show.
That's why I brought him up, because he kind of like teetering the line, right?
Absolutely. That's why he's still on the air on a hip hop station that plays nothing but young music at the age of 60. That's why he's still relevant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, walk us through like a day in the life, if you can, like at Power 92 or GCI. Like, you come in, what would you do from beginning to end?
So me, because I did the morning show, my thing is kind of different, because I had a producer, Lisa E, who would get all of the stuff that I'm talking about for today. So basically all I had to do when I did the morning show was just watch the news the night before, just so I'm in tune with what's going on, you know, and then on the way to the station, I'm listening to like the news radio. I'm not even listening to the station. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about today, you know?
Okay.
So it's about an hour of show prep or whatever. You already kind of sort of know what you're talking about. You're going through the stories that you're going to talk about for today. And then at that point, I'm on the air. You know, I'm kind of different because I would go back and forth running my control board and editing my own calls because I know I'm easier to do it as opposed to telling somebody how to do it. And telling somebody how to do it, that's going to take a few more seconds and add more to it because now the person have to understand what it is you're saying and then actually do it. And then if they fuck up, now we're wasting more time. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for me to just go over there and edit my calls. So I'm kind of hands-on. Mm-hmm. Most people just sit in the chair and just talk. Other times I like to just, make the magic happen myself because at the end of the day, the shit is on you. You know what I'm saying? How it sounds on the air, how it comes across. And so, I tried to, at that moment when we were doing it, putting out a good, well-produced product,
So is creative control solely on you at that point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. So to answer your question, J.I., mm-hmm. So that's the difference. That's a morning show. But when I came in at night, when I was on at night, little to no show prep because I'm just going in there playing music and talking shit, playing the top songs of the night. So I just think of something crazy on the way to work. Okay, women with facial hair, call in tonight. And there would be women calling in with facial hair. This shit was funny as hell.
I want to see them.
Yeah. So, when you're in a position where you're not really giving that much information out, it's little show prep. You're just going off the vibe of the music, quick entertainment story here and there, and then you're just keeping it going. So it's much more work into a morning show than it is any other slot on the air, and the later in the day it gets, the less show prep it takes.
Which do you prefer?
Mornings.
Okay.
Mornings, you get to talk more. You know what I'm saying? When you're on, that's another thing. Self. Yes. When you're on, like, after morning show, some afternoon shows do it. Some afternoon shows will let you talk and you give your opinion or whatever. But when you're on in the morning, you have like more freedom to just talk about whatever you want to talk about, So
okay.
It seems to be less music on in the morning when we on that drive and more
because they're listening for the personality. Talk. Yeah, they're listening for the personality. They're listening for the personality. What it is you're gonna say, what's the strawberry letter of the day? You know what I'm saying? What's the topic of the morning? Like what they talking about? What's new? What's the gossip going on?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. You know what? It was radio was like a big deal. It was a big deal, and I know it's a business. Mm-hmm. Because I remember it was like a mass exodus all at once. I turned on the radio one day and I hear these guys and might not take a day off of work or something, come back and it's a whole new crew.
That's how it works, baby.
Well, wait a minute. That happened at Power 92, right? Because I got some buddies that worked there. They left and they came back. And I mean, is it cutthroat? Is it just business, or is it
Well, when you got a big company like iHeart,
mm-hmm.
So let's just flip the switch. You go to iHeart. What they just did when they fired all of those people like last year, that was a long time coming. That was going to happen inevitably. To my understanding, the company it goes bankrupt and it goes back into bankrupt, and there's people that are going to buy it, and it's just different stories about it. But COVID was a motherfucker.
I can imagine.
And a lot of people weren't buying radio time at all. You know what I'm saying? Because their businesses are closing. I don't have money to stay open, let alone purchase radio time.
Mm-hmm.
So now where's the money going to go? Yes, the company has the money and can pay you, but why should we when we can just fire you and let that person that's 15 years younger than you and pay them minimum wage and keep them here at the station and just let you go? It's smart business, but it's horrible for the industry,
Wow.
So that's what happens. Sometimes you have situations where you just want to do a station overhaul where what you're doing is not working and you just fire every damn body and just start over and try to create a new identity. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. That was one of the situations that I was caught in. Like I had been there 10 years in a hip hop station, you change personalities like every 5-6 years or so because it's a hip hop station, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. In radio, your ass is going to get fired. This is why I am so happy we can do shows like this. You create your own content, get paid off your own content after you keep doing it. You know, it's a beautiful thing for radio people now these days. Create your own platform. You see all of these sports guys that are leaving ESPN and creating their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially on the satellite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the audience. You got your own audience. Create your own content. That's the more beautiful thing about what's happening today, as opposed to even go back 10 years ago. You know, podcasting wasn't as big as it is now, but now you can go create and do your own thing now. You know.
Yep. And I see you got your podcast with Alex Dupree. Is she in Chicago?
No, she's in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
She lives in Seattle, yeah. But she works for the Black Information Network. It's like the Black News division for iHeartMedia. And like I said, they created that whole thing. Right. Right. So they created that company during the pandemic. That just shows you companies have money. They just, you know, don't want to spend it if they don't have to.
Right.
If you were ahead of a company, you would do the same stuff. Same stuff.
Probably.
That's the crazy part about it.
Right. Why should I pay you? I keep it in my pocket.
You know what? That sounds like wise business.
Why would I have a morning show on in Chicago and Detroit and Miami and Los Angeles and Portland or whatever? Why should I have morning shows in each of these cities when I can just pay one morning show and syndicate the whole damn thing? It just makes sense, you know? Just makes sense.
Yeah. No. I got another question. I know that that some radio stations play certain songs and some radio stations didn't. I had a couple of buddies that were trying to get into the music industry, and their records got played all the time on GCI, but I never heard them on Power 92 or anything like that. So is that like standard like business practice? Because a lot of people say, man, it's really hard to make it in Chicago because it's so, you know, crab in a barrel.
Well, it seems like Atlanta is the place to go now for anything you're trying to do. This record thing, man, is so, how can I say, it's crazy. And here's why I say that. It's crazy because okay, you know, if I don't like you, maybe you fucked my sister or something. Back in the day. And if I don't like you just because of that, I'm not gonna play your records. I'll just blackball you. I just won't play your records. And it's like that on a bigger scale at like record companies. You notice while some artists come out and they complain about them just being shelved or you know, they put out one album and it's so many just crazy politics, and the whole thing is ran by just shiesty people. It's the whole music industry, bro. So it's different situations. Not necessarily saying your artist didn't get played on one station, because I take that back. I remember that was a time when we weren't playing records just because the other station was playing it. Wow. And vice versa. It's crazy.
Yeah. You'd have a song. You'd have a song on the Hot 8 or whatever was going on GCI at the time. It would be number one there and wouldn't play on 92 at all.
Sometimes it's politics like that, bro. I'm sure some artists that have a vice versa type situation where they were able to get their song played on Power and didn't get it played on GCS. Sometimes it's like that. I don't know how it is now, you know, but I remember when I was back there, if they started playing it first, or if that DJ was like the supporter of a particular rapper or whatever, we ain't fucking with it.
So you know what?
It's still like that. It's still like that.
I had a friend that worked for a a record company, and she would have to go town to town, station to station to get y'all to get spins, right? And she would literally be like, "Some stations just won't play my artist," and I'm like, "Wait, music is music, right?" She was like,
No. Your music could be great. You know what I'm saying? Your music could be dope, and somebody would just not play it or just not deal with it just cause. You know, and I'm not saying that's the deal for the radio stations now, because like I said, I don't know the dynamic of however they're working or who's doing what.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I remember back in the day, so now you gotta play Kanye, you gotta play Common, you know, those who were hot back at the time. Both stations gotta play that record. But if you're not like the big name, politics gotta work with you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It makes sense, I guess, because you're right. If you're undeniable, you gonna
We're gonna play your records. Yeah,
you're gonna be on every station. Shoot.
Yeah, just like I could imagine that. I could just tell on the internet that Power 92 messes with Chance the Rapper more than WGCI does.
Who they do?
So I can just tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably because GCI is like, well, that's Power's artist, you know, or something like that's Power 92. Like you know what I'm saying? So that's
DJ
how it
Ferris
is, bro.
has a song with him.
But that's crazy because that's in Chicago.
It is.
Yeah, DJ Ferris got a song with Chance. It's dope.
That's it, right there.
No, I'm just saying I could see how it looks on the internet is that I always see Chance the Rapper showing love, you know, to the station. I think he shouted them out on one of the TV shows or something. And I don't ever see that from GCI. But then again, I don't listen to either of the stations. But I follow Chance. I follow Hot Rod, who's on Power. I follow them, and I see them always with Power personality. So that's why I assume that.
So I just said that Chance got a song with Ferris. So I think there it is right there.
So do you think the other station is going to play that? It's a DJ Ferris.
Absolutely
not.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You know.
Yeah, you're right. Trey, you're right. Unless it blows up and it's #1 worldwide, then I guess you gotta
which Chance is,
and then it still probably won't be played. Or if it gets played, it probably won't be the name of that guy or Ferris. It'll probably be like Chance the Rapper song featuring somebody, and it won't mention Ferris. You know, it got to be big. Like it got to be.
Wait a minute. So I'm getting this feeling the rivalry isn't necessarily friendly.
Well, I don't know how the rivalry is now. Like I said. But I remember back in the day, we wasn't, you know, no, that's your station. Y'all went to them first. Go and fuck with them, you know? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And it was
petty.
It was like that toward us as well. Yeah.
So it wasn't a sibling rivalry. It was more like, nah, you chose dude. Go ahead.
Exactly.
That's how petty as hell.
That's how it was, bro. That's how it was.
So wait a minute. So I know you caught a little heat because you were with GCI for the first.
I was gonna say right. You kind of did both because you was on both sides, right?
Yeah.
But more so.
But no, I didn't have any say so or any intent because at GCI I was just starting. I was learning how to host a party, how to, you know, all that other stuff. So I wasn't really into like the back part of it until I got to Power 92 and I saw how, you know, it was with DJs and records and, you know, all of that. Then it got to a point where artists knew that we were going to play their stuff first and we were getting a little more support after a while.
So they would run to y'all before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we were, you know, they were the big station and they've been around since like since the early 80s or whatever. But we had the streets, you know, we had like all of the streets like listening to 92.3 and they're more of the family station. You know, they take out the thong from the thong song, just to make it more family. But us, we you know, when we're Power, we playing ass and all of this during the day. And you can tell that he's saying suck this and she's saying lick this during the day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the streets were messing with us, you know what I'm saying?
Trey, let me tell you, the radio, like you say back in the day, because I listen to the radio, but you're right, because I will listen, I will get on the internet, and if I want to hear somebody back when like in Alabama, that's where I went to school in Alabama, I want to listen to that radio station because they used to have like it wasn't country, but they had a back in the day buffet, some old soul stuff in the middle of the day. But I remember distinctly, I was riding, I was on my way back to school, and this is when Do or Die first came out. They had been pubbing it all day. Like we're going a brand new song by Do or Die. And this is my first time hearing the new Twister. He wasn't tongue twisting no more. He was Twister.
He was just twisting, yeah.
And then and I remember I was driving, and they talked about it forever. They finally played the song, and some songs hit you immediately, like, damn, this is dope. And I was like, damn. They said, that song so hot, we're gonna play it again.
Was it Get It Wet?
No, it was Do You Want to Ride?
Do You Want to Ride? Oh, okay.
Pope Pimp. And I said, I got off. I was riding on my way to school. I said, you know what? Let me turn around. I used to get all my records and stuff from a place in Hammond, Taurus Records. I said, let me get off. And I went and bought the cassette, so I played it, and the CD. I said, man, that was dope. But I remember how some radio stations, like, they were just coming up. They didn't, Twister this was before he really got kind of big. So I remember that the radio stations, they could break an artist. They really had. Is it still like that now?
Probably. See, with the two, I don't really know, but I know and I don't know. Let's put it like that. Being that WGCI is owned by iHeartMedia, they have a whole national programming team that programs their music. So I think you got to go through the higher level up to get your song played or whatever. This is just an assumption. An assumption. I know with Power, it isn't really like that at all. It's not corporately ran. It's like my mom and pop's private owner, has owned the station like 50 years or whatever. So there's not too many doors you got to break down to get your stuff played on Power 92 than it is with my assumption of iHeart and GCI. Because I know that entire company has like a few people, like Doc Winter, who's the head of programming, and like somebody else that programs their music. But it could be something different. I don't know. Don't know.
Trey, let me back up a little bit and ask you this question. Who are some of your inspirations in radio? I mean, we can go back as far as Tom Joyner, Doug Banks, Ramonski Love. Like, who were some of those? Because you were up and coming. You know what I'm saying? So who was that put kind of, if you was into sports, you listened to Kenny McReynolds back in the day on WBMX. Like, who were some of those guys that made you want to jump in?
So the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth answer to that question would be Doug Banks.
Okay.
So Doug is like my inspiration. He's the reason that I ever started picking up a mic, and it happened by default because I would grow up and my brother would always listen to Banks and Company on GCI in the morning. This is the late 80s. He graduated from Carver in 87, 88, something like that. So I would just be up in the morning by default, just listening to the radio, you know what I'm saying? 89, 90. Now I'm 9, 10 years old or whatever, so I'm now realizing what I'm listening to or whatever. So, just listening to that, listening to how much fun the guy would have on the radio, all the celebrities, and then I would go to school and pretend like I was him, you know what I'm saying? So he was a inspiration. He was an inspiration. And then I would say Ramonski for sure at night with the rap down. If I had to,
Dave.
Oh yeah. Rick Party for sure.
Okay.
I never forget Rick because Rick is who put me on. Rick. I tell this story all the time. I was suspended from high school. I went to Lane Tech up north. Got in a big fight. Got suspended. Got arrested.
Dang.
And and being that I always wanted to be on the radio, I had called Rick Party one night. I'm like, look, I want to be on the radio, yada yada. He had invited me to come up to the station and put me on the radio. And he didn't know me from anything. I could have been on radio, like I could have just cracked the mic open and said anything. But he entrusted me to go on the air, and man, so I owe him that. So number one would be Doug Ramosky, and then of course Rick Party. Now there's a few who helped me along the way. Crazy Howard McGee, Sam Silk. You know, these are people who you know, just always offered, you know, some help and some support along the lines. I worked with Crazy Howard McGee. I worked on his show. You know, so those three though, Doug, Ramosky, Rick, and then of course honorary mention will go to Sam and Rick Party.
Is Sam still on the radio?
Sam is in Cleveland.
Oh, okay. He started in Cleveland, didn't he? Did he start in Cleveland?
No, he started here in Chicago, but then he went down to Cleveland.
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. We had Rick on the podcast like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we had Rick.
I'm gonna tell you something you already know. Doug Banks, one of the coolest people, just genuine good people. I had the pleasure of meeting him. I'm gonna take you back. The Shoot the Bull 3-on-3 class.
Wow.
I met Doug Banks.
I remember those.
I met Doug Banks there. He called me up, a young fella, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, it's Doug Banks. You know, because you never forget that voice.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Real class dude, just, you know, real personable man. Love Doug Banks, man. Rest his soul.
Yeah.
Love Doug Banks, man.
I had to do a project in high school, and I had never met him before, and I had to do a project, and they would let you like rent out the videotape or whatever. And I had called his producer, who was Special K at the time, Karen Lee. She works in.
They used to shout out to Special K.
Yeah, she was on the air, but she's in the music industry now. So I called her and I'm like, look, I'm doing a report. Can I come in and film? She was like, sure. So I came in. I'm like, yo, I look up to this dude, and I was able to record him and all that, you know. So yeah, that was a cool moment, man. Cool moment for me.
JB, you mentioned like the Doug Banks, the cool voice, but I can't get past Trey's voice. Tell us about some of this voice work and these voiceovers you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I don't really necessarily do any voiceovers. I mean, I voice a lot of shit. I voice a whole lot of commercials for my company. So yeah, I don't really necessarily do any voice work. I've lend my voice to a few little things, but I don't really. I've never really thought to go down that road. You know what I'm saying?
What you guys had the rats?
Oh, them rats. Okay,
them damn rats. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
That was
I remember those voices.
I actually still have that thing, and I'm thinking about. So funny you brought that up. I'm thinking about just go ahead and put it on YouTube.
Man, do it.
Then see, I didn't have the means to at the time because I needed to hire an animator and all of that, you know. But now that I've saved my little coins up, I think that's something that I may be looking to do. But them damn rest was something, man, that I just came up. I was over my boy's house, DJ Nail 7. I was over his house, and I was just playing with the mic. I was like, man, let's speed this up. Let's see how this will sound. So it was me, a friend of mine named Dion, and another friend of mine named Qua. So just us all down in the basement, drinking, talking shit, some people smoking. And we said, forget it, let's record this. You know what I'm saying? Let's just so we recorded us just having a regular conversation about whatever. Then I'm like, let's speed this up. And I went to Columbia, so I got production experience. You know what I'm saying? I know how to add sound effects and outside sound effects actually to make it real. So it was something that I started at night. And it kind of grew. People started liking it, and I said, "Oh, let's start."
I loved it.
I'll make an episode here, and I actually got like 25 episodes of it just sitting there, just waiting to be used. So it's so funny that you brought that up.
Man, that was hilarious.
Yes,
thanks. Appreciate it.
Hey, that's a huge talent.
So
you know, the writing and all of it.
So yeah, it was us three. And then, wait, what ended up happening? Oh, yeah. Okay. So Dion, we had to replace him with Lil Rel. This is before Lil Rel. This is like $30 to $50 million ago. For I used to go pick Rel up on the west side and bring him all the way to Hammond, Indiana. back to where I live so we could record the Rex. So it was
Wow.
me, Lil Rel, and then my boy Quaz, and then Maurice Dortch. He had he wrote a few episodes that we had came up with because I had started writing. I was writing the damn episodes and producing them. And so then we just put the load on Dortch, who wrote a few episodes for us as well. And so that's brothers just drinking and talking crap and recording something on the mic turned into that.
Y'all caught lightning in the bottle with that one. It was, man, it was off the
that shit
chain.
was funny.
It was hilarious.
You said you stayed in Hammond?
Stayed in Hammond.
How did that work out for you?
That was cool. I lived in they was telling me it was a what's the name of that little apartment complex? It was right off the expressway in Hammond. No, not Hammond, Griffith. I lived in Griffith.
The Mansards.
The Mansards. That's where I lived.
Mansards. Man.
JI, how the fuck you know that?
Dude, wait a minute. You introduce me as the guy who knows everything and nothing at the same time?
Yeah. I thought that would have been the nothing part.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Hey,
a real popular apartment complex in Griffith, Indiana at the time.
You know what? I remember we moved to Hammond. We moved to Hammond for a hot second. It was that's another thing. But the Mansards, they didn't let kids in. I remember that. Like at least back then. Like I don't know.
You were short.
Yeah. If you were short, if you had kids, you were short. You couldn't. Where did we move? We moved to Brook Forest. That was on, and then like the black part. Wait, the radio station was in Hammond. So
radio station was in Hammond. I lived in Griffith. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we moved there, the black part of Hammond was East Hammond, like where Hammond High is. Not too far from the radio station.
Yeah.
By Central, right? Not too far from that, but Hammond it's a lot different now, though. 20 years, it changes. But wow, okay, the Mansards. Yes, I had some wild time.
You telling me?
Hey,
you had wild time? Get the fuck out of here!
You said you came from the west side. The west side, you got to go from west side to the Mansard. That's something else.
Yeah, I don't lived all around the shadow, man. I don't lived all around the shadow. I stayed over east, 67th, 73rd and Green.
Ooh.
74th and South Shore, 35th and Cottage, 31st and King Drive. I've been all around. I've been all around. Yeah.
South Commons sound like Lake Meadows.
South Commons. I was in the South Commons right there.
Oh, come on, man. That's everybody back in the day. You came up if you was living in South Commons.
I lived in South Commons.
You thought you was doing it big.
I lived in South Commons until I went to Mount Carmel.
Okay. Yeah, I was a 30-something in King Drive, 30, 45 King Drive, something like that. Back before you get to 31st.
I was 28, 23 South Michigan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been all around, man.
So Trey, let me ask you this before we let you go, man. That place in Killeen, Chicago Cheap Eats.
Bro,
is that
number one, it's closed.
What?
Okay, let's start there. It's closed.
That was quick.
Number two, the man couldn't stay open. It was becoming to be it was a popular spot. I was in there once a week, get me an Italian beef dip with hot peppers. I was in because they don't serve them down here. You know what? Nobody does Chicago food down here. No pizza pubs, like none of that.
I figured.
None of that. No Giordano's, none of that. So
really?
So the man couldn't stay open. And so it was one of the days you got to roll the dice and see if he's open or not. So he had a good thing going. He was from Chicago. The lady that he had running it was down here in Texas. So I don't know what happened, but I know after a while they end up closing it.
I was about to say, man, that sounds like a good thing, man, to have some Chicago eats there. I'm
trying to tell you. Yep.
And you said
this place called Old Chicago. I haven't even went in there because it looks like an old Chili's or something like that.
You seem not too interested.
You don't sound too enthusiastic about it. I got a cousin that lives in Killeen.
Okay.
Tommy Harris also is in
Tommy Harris. Also, Peanut Tillman. Peanut Tillman.
Yeah, Peanut.
They're from the next city over, Copper's Cove. That's where RG3 is from. Somebody else is from out there. RG3, Tommy Harris, and Peanut Tillman. So they like right next door in Copperas Cove.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
One
all.
thing they do down here, man, is they spit out football players. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I've learned about Texas. Like, football is like the number one thing down here. The high school football stadiums, bro. Some have 5,000, some seat 10,000. Like, it's a big deal down here.
So Friday Night Lights was no joke.
That's what it is.
It's serious.
That's what it is. Yes. Yes. It is big business behind it, which is crazy. You know, it's big business.
They got football coaches that make more than teachers in the high school level.
Yo, yes.
Hey, that's not saying much.
Oh, you cut it out.
Hey, Trey, this has been fun, man. I know you got to run, man.
All good.
This has been a great time, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. We've definitely learned a lot. JB, go ahead.
Hey, Trey, just before you leave,
Uh-huh.
I had to get a little sippy sip in me. When I said 57 wins, that was 92. So I was one off.
Okay.
1 year off.
What did they go in
The second year they won 67.
67 and 15. Right.
Yeah, when they beat Portland.
They went 61 and 21,
Correct.
67 and 15. Was
Correct.
it 63 and 19 that third year?
Correct. And then that's when Michael retired.
Right. But
And Scotty and them won 3 less games.
what were they? 91, 90, 91, 91, 92, 92, 93. What was their record then? 92, 93. When they like 63?
57 and 25.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's what I was saying, like 57, 92, because I put 91 and 92. I wasn't that far off. I got my drink in me.
You wasn't that far off. Gotcha. Well, cool, brothers. Appreciate y'all for having me on, man. If y'all need me again, reach out,
Hey,
man.
absolutely,
Really
man.
cool.
Hey,
Definitely.
when you have something going on, man, shoot us something, let us know so we can tune in.
Oh, for sure.
That podcast, you want to plug that real quick?
Please.
Yeah. See what had happened was that's with myself and also Alex Dupree every Wednesday on Facebook, or you can check us out. See what had happened was with Trey and Alex. Or our website, just go to treyandalex.com. I forgot about the damn website.
TreyandAlex.com.
treyandalex.com. Yep.
There it is.
Bless
there
us,
it
brother.
is. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
appreciate you, Trey.
All right, Trey.
Holla.
Yep.
Much love.
Hey,
Yep, that was great.
man. The man SARS, you?
Hey, you know what? Listen, it's
No, I
crazy,
don't.
man.
I don't know what anymore because I feel like I don't know you now.
Hey, it's crazy because my brother and I, we talk about like when we moved to Hammond, and he's, oh man, it was okay. I was like, man, you hated it too. We couldn't wait to get the hell up out of there. He was like, so he got a little revisionist history, but he went back. I'm like, no, man, it was a culture shock. I wasn't used to that. It was, especially back then, man. I'm a Southeast Side guy. When we left, it was that was a huge culture shock. But now, our old high school, I think when we went there, it was like 11 black people. Now I don't know if it's 11 white people.
Oh wow.
I mean, it was a big thing. So, but I remember that because we go over the bridge, and that was like the man size. That's what's up. And everybody, for whatever reason, because Trey is a little younger, so I knew he wasn't gonna say Kennedy Park Apartments. And when I grew up, I used to hear that on the radio all the time. Move out to Kennedy Park Apartments. I got my own place. They had spots on the radio. The stuff he's talking about, man, I never even thought about it. COVID hit the radio hard. I'm going out of business. I'm not about to. I don't have money to.
Yeah, I'm not paying for it, especially like in the morning time. Radio driving in to hear my commercials and stuff because ain't nobody driving to work. Yeah. So
yeah, you think everybody's doing okay. They coming up, but that I guess that I didn't know about that. So I definitely appreciate him for speaking out on that.
Yeah, I hope he.
Trey is a real cool dude. I can't wait to hit them rats. Them damn rats.
I'm about to say, I hope he get that going, man.
Yeah, man, that shit funny as hell.
That's how Boondock started in Magruder's basement or something. He was talking and stuff. So
man, as polished and as smooth as that stuff came off, man, he said they just was kind of messing around and man,
just stumbled upon
a gem. That's what's up.
You got it, man. They got it.
That's what's up.
Well, hey, so while we got a minute here, they started camp, the Bears.
Yes.
Yeah, they started. Was it OTAs?
Yep. It's go time now.
And I also read that they're not gonna sit. They're not gonna sit Justin. They're gonna let him compete. They're gonna let him compete with Andy Dalton for that starting position. So my question is, what if Justin gets that starting spot? Now we got a $10 million backup.
Jal, you want first crack? Because what I'm gonna say is gonna come off. You already know how I talk.
Well, you know what? Mine is gonna come off very hopeful and very glass half full.
Right, because look, you're the angel and I'm usually the devil, so
Yes.
I'm gonna let you go first.
Hey, well, I appreciate that. Andy Dalton being a backup, his doggone stock would just skyrocket. Like you got as a starter, it's like that's the middle of the road guy. He might be a little past his prime, but as a backup, he might be the best backup in the league. You got somebody that can legitimately hold it down. Now, can he take you to the next level? I don't know. But and if for whatever reason they say Justin is not really, not ready yet, because he's the guy. It's just a matter of bringing him in at the right time. This might not be the right time. I think we got the best of both worlds here. If he starts great, that means he's looking good. If he does not, then it's just a matter of time. So, and he has some good experience around him. He has two good quarterbacks. I can't imagine the Bears keeping both of those guys.
And that's kind of leading into where I was going to go because first and foremost, let's remember, guys, Nagy and Pace, their jobs are on the line. So by them hitching their wagon to Justin Fields, it's like almost baptism by fire for him. Do you play him now to save your job and to kind of say, look what we can do if we have another year or two with the young boy? Or do you hold your cards close to the vest and you say, well, let's bring him along slowly in hopes that management will still extend your contract because now you have a little bit more wiggle room, if you will. Now, to what Bullett's point was absolutely that's the same thing they did with Nick Foles. But with that type of money, you cannot keep both of those guys on the roster with Fields. One of them has to go, and I agree with you. Dalton is better than Fields, even though how soon we forget Foles. Foles just won a Super Bowl like 3 years ago. But we always say, it's Janet Jackson time. What have you done for me lately?
Most definitely.
Now, what I don't want them to do is thrust this boy into the fire only because of pressure. Because you got fan pressure, you got management pressure, you got media pressure. We want Justin Fields to stick around. We want him at his best.
Hold on for a minute. We got Justin Fields because of pressure.
No, we got Justin Fields because they was trapped in a corner.
No, they were
That's
happy.
A different kind of pressure.
Hold on. They thought they'd be able to, sit back and relax and regroup. Like, okay, we got Andy Dalton. Everybody will be okay with that. Then people say, "You're not happy with this guy, the Red Rifle?" They're like, "What?" Hey,
I'm gonna respectfully disagree because I bet you $1 to $1 of this shit that if you had put the Bears in that same position and Fields had been gone, they don't make the move to trade up to get Mac Jones. They ride out. They ride out.
Hold on. You don't wait a minute.
They wouldn't have Kellen Mond to somebody in the second round or Kyle Trask.
You think so?
Think about who we're dealing with here.
Okay, so if Fields was gone, do you say they don't trade up to get Mac Jones? That's wild. You know what?
Because think about it like this. What is the 1 and 2 things that the Bears brass has been accused of within the last 4 years?
Not picking a black quarterback.
Not just not picking a black quarterback, not picking that black quarterback. See, it's a difference.
Oh.
It's a difference. So if you feel, let's say it fell and Justin Fields went like to Atlanta or something, whatever. The Bears don't have any pressure to move up to draft Mac Jones. When they can say, hey, we got this Kellen Mond kid or we got this Kyle Trask kid in the second round. Andy Dalton is a nice bridge guy. But when Justin Fields is still there, people are like, you gonna get up and come to work? Y'all gonna get up and do your job?
You're right. They couldn't miss out. This would have been Deshaun Watson 2.0. You screwed the pooch on that one.
Dude, that's like Mexico Burris keeping a 45 in his sweatpants shooting himself.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. Can't do it.
Man.
So
I met that guy at a football camp. Coolest dude in the world. Coolest dude. Who was throwing the camp? Jason Avant. Jason Avant was there.
Oh, Jason Avant, receiver. He's from Chicago.
He went to Carver. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right, he played for the Eagles.
He played for the Eagles. I can't remember what college he went to.
Yeah, here you go again. Like I said, he played professionally. He played for the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe.
Mm-hmm. He did. That's where he went. He played at Jason Avant went to Michigan. He was a dog. He came out in 98, I think. 98, 99. He was a dog. So you got a good talk.
This offensive line. I'm sorry, JR.
No problem.
This offensive lineman that they looking at that from the formerly the Redskins. Well, actually, you know what? Let me table that because our guest, our Mark Knight has just arrived. Mr.
Wait, we got
House
another
Music,
guest?
Mr. House Music. The
We got another
originator
guest.
of house
Wow.
music, one of the chosen few, and he has a book. But I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm gonna just bring him in, Mr. House, Jesse Saunders.
Testing 1, 2.
What's up, Jess? Can you hear us?
I can't hear nobody.
You can't hear us?
Jesse, what's happening?
He can't hear us.
Hear anything.
Come out and come back in. T, is he muted? No.
No, he's not muted.
I hear nothing.
Check. Jesse, can you hear us? Check.
Can you hear us? He still can't hear us.
Tell him to come out and come back in. Maybe he's not. He had to click the audio, right?
Hold
At the
on a
beginning.
second. I don't hear anything.
I hear the house music. No, I heard that.
Still don't hear anything.
Hit him on the side, T. Tell him to make sure he touched the audio button if he's on the computer to make sure it's accessing the audio.
Yeah, I'm accessing the audio. It's just my setups here.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh,
wait, you just heard it.
you hear us?
I can hear you now. I'm just running through a different system. It's not working through my.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Hold on, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to figure it out later. All right. We good.
Jesse, how's it going?
Good. What's happening?
Man, it is a pleasure. It is a absolute
honor.
pleasure that you're here.
Honor.
An honor.
The originator of house. I am a house head. Love can't turn around.
Is your
Man,
head
that's
built
my
like a house? Is your head built like a
Hey, when I'm listening to that music, it might as well be.
Hey, my absolute favorite house song. Absolute favorite. Love Can't Turn Around.
Oh, that's where that music was coming from.
Oh, it was you.
Hey man, you listen. Somebody tell you, this is my favorite guy. This is my favorite guy. This is my favorite. You got him on your phone. Oh no, then that's not your favorite. You got to
right.
listen. Listen. I don't know how that works because I know that's Daryl Pandy on the vocals.
Yep, that's Daryl singing.
Daryl singing. Rest in peace, big Daryl. Daryl went to Bowen. That's how I know Daryl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Daryl went to Bowen. Southeast side guy.
Southeast side.
Southeast side. They talk about the. Say again.
Did he mess with you too?
Who?
Daryl mess with you.
Oh man, everybody from Bowen had love. He came up. We did some stuff there. Daryl was a few years ahead of us, but he came back when the song hit big, man. When I first transferred to Bowen. I came from another school. I was totally out of the social scene. and he was doing a show in the auditorium. I had class, so I just went to class. I didn't know it was okay to cut class. Man, it was. I mean, it was spiritual up in there, man. It was spiritual. It was 86. The song that just came out.
All right.
So I was like, golly, I remember that some good times, man. It is a truly an honor and a pleasure.
I'm gonna tell you a story about Love Can't Turn Around real quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So
Please.
So Farley and I were working on it in the studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was Farley, Vince and I, did the lyrics, and Farley and I produced it. I did most of the music, brought in Dwayne Buford as well. And we were sitting up one night, had to be about 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and we were trying to figure out who we could get to sing the song. So we went through our list of, who was popular at the time, who we'd used before, all that kind of stuff, and nobody was available. So Farley says last minute, he's like, man, I don't really want to do this, but let's call Daryl Pandy.
Y'all didn't want to call Daryl.
The reason why we didn't want to call him was for the very reason that I just asked you, did he mess with you? Because he was always talking about, hey, I want to suck and I want to do this. And so we didn't want no part of that, right?
Yeah.
So none of us wanted him in the studio.
Whoa.
look at T Nick.
He a little ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. So basically we all broke down. I was like, man, we can't find anybody else. I guess we got to call him. So he comes in the studio. You know how I used to always do those little high pitched runs,
yeah,
squeaks. So he starts doing all that stuff, and Farley goes, no, man, none of that. We want you to sound like a man. We want you to sound like a big man. That's how I ended up being. Oh, this is how it started. Originally, was singing it like, no, this is how it started. We were like, this has to be manly, and like, So,
oh man, it was.
Hey, so, go ahead, J.I. Go ahead.
I had heard this song. I want to say, man, it was in heavy rotation. I think I bought it 3 or 4 different times. It had 3 or 4 different labels on it. I was like, wow, what's going on? It is tracks. It was on your record label. I think the first one I got was on yours.
No, it was on House. That was
Farley. It was on House. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, and it was man. That's my staple. I think when I think house music, that's the first song I think of.
Now, On and On should be the first one you think of.
Well, you know what? On and on. Not like I had a lot of money in '86. I think that might have been the first record I could afford. That's why. But listen, we had On and On, man. It was house music. There was no other music.
Well, let me tell you a little story about On and On now.
Okay.
There's always a backstory to this stuff. I think most people don't know these stories, but On and On, actually, when we first put that out, we didn't know what pricing was all about. We had no idea, right? Mm-hmm. So, when you went to Imports or Loop or whatever, they had 12 inches on sale for $3.99, right? Mm-hmm. So being young, dumb, and stupid, we figured, why do they do it at $3.99? Well, we'll just sell them at $4. What's the penny for? We didn't get it, right? Not knowing that the store had to actually mark it up, so they ended up selling it for $6.99. And it was still the number one seller in the store. So that tells you how special it was.
Oh man!
So I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
As a founding father of house music, how did y'all come up with that sound? Like, were y'all just tinkering with machines and music? Like, how did that just pop into y'all's mind and explode like it did?
Okay, when you say y'all, who are you talking about?
Well, just for the house music originators, yourself. Y'all that put the house music together.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I started experimenting with a drum machine, right, nobody else was really doing it at that time. And I was at the playground playing. And the reason why I even started doing it was because I had multiple genres that I played. I played everything from reggae to new wave to everything in between. It didn't matter. If it was good, I played it and made a way to fit in there, right? So all these different tempos, I had to find segues to get from one to the other. Because, I wasn't like all the other DJs that were just, okay, we'll just slam it in, and just make it work. It's like, everything I did had to be a smooth transition where you didn't even know. You might feel the tempo changing a little bit, but you didn't really know. and then it just was one continuous thing. It never stopped, right? So I would take the drum machine and use the pitch control to slowly move them down. Like if I was playing, B-52s or something that was at 145 BPM, I would take that thing and slow it all the way down to like 120, 118 or whatever, so I could put in "Let No Man Put Us Under" or whatever, right? So as I started doing that, I started making tracks that would be identifiable for each one. So it would start to sound like the same song, right?
Okay.
So I would keep those tracks, and every time I play it, I would use the same track and same tempo change and everything. So again, you wouldn't know the difference. So anyway, after a while, I was going to Imports, Etc. was really giving me all my records that I was playing. Everything that I played in the playground came from Imports, Etc. Period. Right. So I walked in there one day, and there was this guy named Frank Sales. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was the head salesman at Imports, and he would generally greet you when you walked in the door and everything. So as soon as I walk in, he goes, "Well, Jesse, you're playing some record that we don't know what it is, and people are coming in here and asking for it." And I was like, "Well, I have no idea what it is. I play hundreds of records a night, and whatever." So he said, "Well, make a tape, make some tapes for me, and we'll play it in the store and see if anybody recognizes it." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I did that. I come in one day, and he says, "So this is the record that people are asking for." And I'm like, "Oh man, those are just my tracks I make up on my drum machine, right?" He goes, "Well, if you could get your hands, if you could press some copies of these things, we could sell a shitload of them." I was like, okay. Light bulb goes on over my head. I hit up Vince Lawrence because I knew he had done the Fast Cars record with his dad on Mitch Ball. That was actually his graduation present that he let him go in the studio and do that. I hit him up and I'm like, "Man, how do you make a record?" So he tells me the whole thing. We run down to the pressing plant where Larry Sherman is. We cut those tracks directly to the lathe. There wasn't even a master tape or master anything. We went directly to the lathe when we did it, and got that acetate, started playing it. Records got, pressed about a week later, and everybody, all the Hot Mix 5, we gave a copy. I was made the whole 9 yards. And like I said, we didn't know any better, so we sold them for $4. And they ended up marking them up for $6.99. But the first batch, hot off the press, we got sold 200 to Imports, Etc., and they were gone, but within 48 hours.
Damn.
So we just kept pressing and kept pressing and kept pressing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it all started.
You made it sound like it's so simple. Now I guess it's a lot of red tape. You gotta speak to somebody just to speak to somebody. And do you like it now?
Really? Not really. I mean, the same principle still applies. It's just that there's so many people doing it now. So there's so much competition. I mean, back in those days, I think within the first month, we probably did over 10,000 units easy without even thinking about it. Right. I mean, the reason why Just Say Records was started because we had to have a way to be able to distribute these records to the record stores, right? So I brought in Dwayne, who was actually working the concession stand at the playground. Vince had become my light man, Von Zell was my girlfriend, we went to Kenwood's, and then Glenda used to hang out at the playground. And then Kirk Townsend came in later. Yeah, Kirk Townsend came in later, who was actually my cousin, and he knew about the record business, so I kind of made him vice president. So that was Just Say Records. So as soon as we would get them from the plant, Dwayne would take them to the store, collect the money, because we didn't do none of those 30, 60-day, 90-day terms. It was cash only or you don't get no record.
Right, on the hand. On the hand, yeah. I like that, on the spot, yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's how the whole thing started.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So you said Kenwood. You're a Kenwood guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bronco.
J.I.'s eyes got big when you said Kenwood.
Hey, I got nothing but love for the Broncos. Jesse, you said it was a lot of who did the artwork? I remember the Just Say the work. That was Vince?
He drew all my labels back because I did Just Say Records. Tracks was my original label. Dance Mania, all of those were my labels. So he did the logo on every one of them.
Man, it seems so. Man, really, we can make records, and you just did it. It seems so bang, bang, bang. Like it's you say the principle is still the same. It's just a lot more people doing it.
Pretty much. I mean, think about it. It's like all you really had to do was find a pressing plant, right? Then you had to make a logo, whatever that happened to be. They set the print at the pressing plant for all the labels and whatnot. It's like now you can actually just put it on your computer and do it yourself. But back then they set all the print. You just told them what you wanted it to say. And then you would, obviously master it. And then they would cut the acetates first, and then they'd make the stampers, and then they'd make the records. Right. I still have the original vinyl molding with the label thing on it that goes into the press to make the record. From the very first one, too.
Oh, wow.
So I was fascinated looking at the press and like seeing how these things just go in. You could just see them, like the whole thing would squeeze the vinyl out into like a round disc and pick it up and move it. It was a record. I was like, wow. But yeah, it's the same principle. I mean, especially now if you're not even doing vinyl. It's like if it's digital, you don't even have to worry about all that.
Okay. Was there like a friendly rivalry back then with other? Because I remember Love Can't Turn Around, and shortly after that, I remember I Can't Turn Around by Jam Silk. Don Conley.
Actually, it's the other way around.
They came first?
Turn Around was first, yeah. The reason why Love Can't Turn Around was even done was because Farley and Steve were roommates.
Okay.
Right? And they had this rivalry thing going on. I think one day Steve had said something about how he was going to change his name or put in his name Jackmaster. So he was going to be Jackmaster Silk, right? Him and Farley somehow or other, something happened. They got mad at each other or whatever. And Farley went on the radio and announced it right away that he was Farley Jackmaster. That's stolen from Steve, so he couldn't do it, right? So that was the beginning of that thing. Then came Steve did a version of I Can't Turn Around, mimicking the the Isaac Hayes version, right? And everybody had it on cassette and they were playing around, but no records were ever pressed. So again, Farley and Steve, something happened. They weren't feeling each other no more, and they ended up not being roommates. And Farley was like, well, shoot, if Steve's not going to do it, then I want to do it. So that's when he called me and said, well, I need you to produce this thing. And, I was like, at the time, it was so funny because this was 2 years after I started Just Say Records, right? And at the time, Farley fell out with a lot of people. And we all were one of them at one point in time, because Farley would do a lot of questionable shit back in the day. And people would just be like, okay, we ain't feeling this,
Interesting.
Whatever. Right? But he was also premier DJ on the radio for the Hot Mix 5. So you kind of needed him if you were in the record business, to play your record so it would sell. I mean, we were doing those ridiculous sales because the Hot Mix 5 was playing all our records. I mean, that goes for Funk You Up, Real Love, Wanna Dance, Love Can't, all of those records. If they hadn't played those records, we wouldn't have done nearly those kind of sales. So anyway, I was just at a point where I was like, well, I need to do this. Even though I don't really want to do this, I need to do this because I need to get back in his good graces, right? So I did it. But my only request was that, we did it as an original song and not as a cover, because I was totally into publishing at that time. And I was like, I want to be able to keep the publishing because I know, if this record does anything like what I think it may do or what my other records do, publishing is going to be worth a lot of money. Right. So that's why we ended up rewriting the lyrics and redoing stuff melodically and stuff in there, whatever. So make a long story short, that's where Love Can't Turn Around came from, because they fell out. I can't turn around. Yeah.
So you said Farley fell out with a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Have those relationships been mended, or
I'll tell you this. Farley's DJs or is a DJ because of me as well, right? So I used to play for Al Mack. Remember the Actors and Mechanics and all that Al Mack, production and what? Well, this was before the Actors and Mechanics. So I used to play for him when I was in high school. I was like 16, 17 years old, and I used to play Chicago State and the Thunderbird, all those, those kind of places like that, right? And Farley was his like a street promoter. He would pass out pluggers at school and stuff, right? So I would come in sometimes and Farley be behind the table trying to mix a 120 BPM record with a 102 BPM record. So needless to say, it was just train wreck city all over the place, right? And Al got mad at him one day. He's like, man, Farley, stay away from the turntable. Let Jesse's the DJ, not you. You can carry his records, you can do blah, 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 but you can't get on the tables no more. So that actually lit a fire under that. This is actually a great story for Farley, because had that not happened, he might not be a DJ today. But that lit a fire under him where he locked himself in Frenchie's basement. You know, Frenchie did sound and stuff back then, right? He used to do all that sound. He locked himself in his basement for 2 days until he could actually mix records together. But then he went a step further. He not only learned to mix them, he also learned to scratch them. He learned to do tricks with them and all kinds of stuff. So I went away to college. I went to USC when I graduated from Kenwood. And when I came back that next year, everybody's talking about Farley is like the man, the DJ now. I'm thinking he can't even mix 2 records together. How's he the man now, right? And like, oh, he's won the battles. He's doing this. He's doing all his parties, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow. So that's how Farley actually became a DJ.
Nice.
Wow.
That's wow.
Nice.
So have his ruined relationships.
Oh, that's what we were talking about. Wait a minute. Let me finish that one. Okay. So Farley, what's the best way to put this? My family, well, no, I mean it's Chicago. It's how Chicago, Chicago's segregated city. No matter whether you black, white, purple, whatever, your neighborhood, your neighborhood, and you don't go in somebody else's neighborhood, you might get up or whatever, right? So Farley went to Calumet. All the schools going out to house parties back in those days were Kenwood, Whitney Young, real preppy, come from like upward, Lee Mobile, doctors and lawyers, kids and stuff like that, right? So back in those days where it was a difference between being preppy and being a thug, Farley was on the thug side, right? So for him, he's a lot more brash. And you're talking about people that aren't used to being around people that are brash. So when he did get in the circle, he became a DJ. He kind of rubbed people the wrong way, at the time. So he fell out with a whole bunch of people. And not only that, once he got really good at it, his head just blew up. I'm the shit. Nobody can touch me. Whatever. Who are you? I don't need you. I'm Hot Mix 5. You know what I'm saying? He was just that kind of person. So
I knew Hot Mix 5. I knew it. Yeah.
So people didn't like that. So he burned a lot of bridges. Matter of fact, there was a time when kind of like maybe like the early mid 90s, something like that, where he wasn't really even getting booked outside of like, traveling overseas. Nobody would touch him in Chicago. So
you said the mid 90s. That was wow, okay.
Mid 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in that area, But he was still getting booked overseas. So, he was still making a living. But that's why I was really surprised because I've been gone from Chicago for 30-something years. I moved west and, that's it. I didn't really.
Where you at now, Jesse?
I'm in LA.
Oh, my man.
Yeah. So it's like I didn't know what was going on then. People just started telling me. It's like, yeah, people ain't feeling Farley no more. Blah, blah, blah. They're not doing this and that. And, that's what it is. But then he got saved and he all those bridges, I won't say all of them, but most of those bridges he burned, he went and made amends to and got himself back into it. So that's a good thing.
What about the bridge with you?
Oh, I ain't got no bridge with me, man. It's like, I have a problem with Pete Tong, not with Farley. Even though Farley and Rocky Jones could have had a hand in it. I don't care. My problem is with Pete Tong at London Records, because originally when Love Can't Turn Around actually got licensed to Polygram through London Records, Pete Tong was the A&R guy. And when I called over, to find out what was going on, because I was gone. Like I said, I didn't know what was going on. Farley was just like, hey, call Pete Tong, blah, blah, blah. They're about to release it over there, this and that. So I did. He didn't return my phone call. And then when I did talk to him, he acted like, oh, well, no, it's a cover. So make a long story short, he's the one that almost got me put in a position where I wouldn't even make any money from Love Can't Turn Around, because he would not get with me for the proper documentation, wouldn't tell me what was what when it was being released, and so on and so forth. So I knew nothing. If I hadn't signed my deal with Warner Brothers, with Geffen through Warner Brothers, and at the same time, this is when Love Can't Turn Around was blowing up, over there, and it was actually going, top 10 at the time. And they noticed, obviously, being a major label, they noticed it and they wanted to put a tour together and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I have no idea. But I look up, I remember I got to London, I look up on the TV and I see Daryl Pandy singing Love Can't Turn Around. Well, I don't know nothing about no video. I ain't never seen none of this stuff. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, what the hell is going on, right? And they were like, oh, didn't you know it's on Top of the Pops now and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay. So then that started about a 10-year, 11-year lawsuit that I had against Universal Music, which was Isaac Hayes' publishing company at the time. Because what they had done was they had included, remember I specifically said that I wanted to write a new song or I wasn't going to do it?
Do a cover. Mm-hmm.
So what they had done was they gave it a cover status. So that gave Isaac Hayes all the writer's share, all the publishing, all the mechanicals, all the everything, right? So I wasn't making no money at the time off of that. So anyway, make a long story short, I ended up signing with Warner Chappell. Then I went from there to a smaller company that was run by Billy Michelle, who was the president of Arista Music when they did Whitney Houston and all the rest of those kind of people over there. So I ended up going over there, and 5 years later, he sold that company to Universal. So soon as that happened, I walked right into the office, in Universal. Just so happened that the head of business affairs grew up in Chicago and knew all about Love Can't Turn Around. Because the first thing I said to him is, I want my money right now. And he's like, well, what's going on? And I told him, he's like, oh, well, shoot, let me go back and look at the records and see. He's like, oh, yeah, money's been sitting in this account for 12 years. Nobody's touched it, right? Because they didn't even know. They didn't even know where it was supposed to go.
Run my money.
They hold it in escrow. Yeah, they hold it in escrow. So I ended up getting my money finally.
Okay.
So then that was P-Tone's fault.
Yeah, all because of him.
Oh, so the beef, so-called beef.
It ain't a beef. I just ain't got nothing to say to him.
No, we bad.
But it's not Farley, so that's why it ain't no bridge.
No, that ain't Farley. I don't blame Farley for anything. And like I said, him and Rocky could have had a hand in all of this stuff, but I do know he called me and specifically said to call London Records and who to talk to and whatever. So that's why I relinquished that whole thing from that side. I don't, that's not a big deal for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember house music like that was Chicago. It was I can go out, I can grab some records, and I remember heavy hitters. You, Jesse, of course, Farley, Marshall Jefferson. I remember a guy had a song. I don't know if you know this guy's name was Rox Davy. I just remember a lot of Chicago artists. That seems like when I hear people talk about New York, this is what we did with this type of music, or other people. I got a buddy that swears up and down house music came from Detroit, and we go back and forth about that. I just listen.
Tell him to go buy my 2 books and he'll get the real story.
That's the look he gives me. Like Chicago.
2 books.
It's another one. It's another one too.
That's the first one. That's the first one.
Yeah, there's another
one that came out last May called "In Their Own Words."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jesse, how are they just claiming that? Like original sound, all the hard work you put in.
Come on, man. Wait, don't you know anything about history?
I don't know nothing about music.
People have been claiming that they did stuff that other people did since the beginning of the music business. So it's like, I mean, look at Little Richard. He fought his whole life trying to get, I'm the guy that invented rock and roll. Those were my songs. Blah, 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 So it's always going to happen. Everybody wants to put themselves at the scene of the crime. Well, everybody wants to put themselves at the beginning, because when you put yourself at the beginning, that makes you somebody special. But the problem is that they can't back up the dates and time. They can only tell you certain aspects and certain pieces of it.
Right.
Indeed.
You know what I watched? I watched that. It was unsung, unsung house music, and I actually learned a lot from just watching that. I learned a lot, man. I learned that Jesse, you are the dude. Everything began really with you. So when all these dudes talk about New York and Detroit, yeah, some house DJs went to New York. Like
Mhm.
Frankie Knuckles, he was in New York, right?
He's from New York.
Before he came to Chicago.
Mhm.
So there was house music in New York, but it started with you.
No. Here's the thing. You have to, and this is why I tell people you got to get the books so you can really understand and be able to correlate, do your due diligence and your footnotes and everything so you can reference it. But if you have the book, you can tell the timelines of things. Frankie came up in a time with Robert Williams. Robert Williams is a little older than them, obviously, but as a matter of fact, Robert Williams was a probation officer.
He's a probation.
And Frankie and Larry Levan. Frankie and Larry were friends. They were like best friends, right? And they got into some trouble, some juvenile stuff that ended up in his. He wasn't really a probation officer, but kind of like that, more like a juvenile counselor or whatever kind of thing. So they ended up in his office, and that's actually how he met them, right? So as Robert goes on and moves to Chicago, Frankie and Larry start to make a name for themselves. Mainly Larry. Larry was actually the guy that started first, and he kind of brought Frankie along. And so Larry was playing all these parties, Continental Bass, where Bette Midler was the MC and singing and all these kind of things back in the day. And he was, started to DJ all these parties. So Robert was like, well, I want Larry to, come to Chicago so we can start this, which was US Studios at the time. It's actually US Studios. It's not US Studios. So he used to do these kind of like underground, gay men's nights and stuff in clubs after hours and everything. And he kind of wanted to, get some New York flavor in there and see people what it was like in New York as opposed to what was going on in Chicago. Well, Larry was like, I'm not leaving New York, but Frankie wants to come. So Frankie ended up coming. And initially, Chicago people, we love our own. So they weren't feeling Frankie. First two times he came, they weren't feeling him at all. People weren't showing up the whole night. It was like, what is this New York crap? This ain't no Chicago, whatever, right? So there was another guy that was a DJ at the time for them. They ended up splitting, actually. Bowery was another social, they were called social clubs back then. The Bowery, half the people with US Studios split, the other half, Robert and a couple other people went and stayed US Studio. So he found the space at 211 South Jefferson and wanted to turn it into another club, right? Now, this club, he wanted to be a little different than the rest of them. So he decided that this was when he wanted to bring a New York DJ in. So that was the first time he brought Frankie in. But the problem was, like I said, people weren't feeling it, so they weren't trying to go to that club at the time, right? They were going to all the other ones. And the popular DJ at the time was Greg Winfield's brother. God, what is this for his name? I can't think of it, but his brother was like the man at that time, other than, Ron Hardy was still around too as well. He was over at Den One, but the man within those circles in that after hours thing, right? He brought Frankie over to his place at the Bowery, introduced him, and gave him a warm welcome and told everybody too. And from then on, everybody loved Frankie. So now Frankie could go back to US Studios now, and they started to pull a crowd. And then, everybody at the time, just like we do with all kinds of stuff with slang, they started to call it the warehouse. So that's where the whole house thing comes from. It was like there was a lot of stuff going on way before then that people don't know.
Wow. So house is short for warehouse.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are so many definitions that people want to tell you. Oh, it's music you played in your house. Oh, I started imports, etc. Oh, we started this section. But at the end of the day, come on. The whole thing is because people were trying to say this music that was played at the warehouse is what we're listening to. Again, my brother Wayne Williams, I know he's gonna slam me at the end of this thing because he keeps trying to tell me that it has other thing. It wasn't because of that. That's like, dude, at the end of the day, we can have so many definitions of this thing we call house. But the one that is more tried and sticks true to this whole thing was that it was a shortened term of the warehouse that people used to identify music that was played at the warehouse at record stores or to your friends and stuff like that. So that's the one that I'm going to stick with.
Okay.
But that's the one I'm going to stick because it makes the most sense. And especially when you start thinking about what house music is today and where the inception of what we call Chicago house and what's turned into techno and trance and all the rest of the stuff around the world, it comes from that first record of On and On where people say, oh, drum machine. Here's the thing, and Marshall will tell you this himself. I'm sure if you saw the Unsung, you saw this. He'll tell you, he's like, On and On, he says, is the single most important record in the history of house music. And he said, because it let everybody know that DJs could make records and we didn't just have to play them. And that fits along because I like to have all the pieces fit together nicely. You know, I'm not trying to take a square and fit it in a circular hole. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let's make everything fit. It's like, yeah, you're going to have a little different perspective than me, you know, and this person as you go along, it's like that 10 person at the table thing. You tell one person one thing, by the time it gets around to the other end of the table, it's completely different. Right. And that's what happens with our history. But the only way to really kind of pinpoint the journey is to take things that are like-minded and put them together. So
the drum machine you use for On and On, was that 808?
Yep. TR-808. Okay. Benny Winfield, that's it. All right, Bullets. That was it. Benny Winfield was the DJ back in
Bullets the day. Be on it.
Yes. Hey, Bullets.
Bullets be on it.
Yeah, man, he does. So the Chosen Few. Do you come back for that, right? Every year? Well, before COVID, of course. Every year you will come back for that.
Yeah, that's my 1 week in Chicago.
1 week. Then you go right back to LA.
Oh man, you know, I live between Vegas and LA. You know, LA, I remember the first time I got off the plane, I was just like, oh, this is where I'm spending the rest of my life. It did not rain, but one day, the whole 9 months I was here my freshman year, sun was shining. It was perfect weather every day. Girls were walking around in bikinis all the time. The beach, I was like, oh, this is heaven. I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, you was an SC, brother. You know.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm sure that's the life. I'm sure.
Wow, from Kenwood to USC. Okay, you're like you. So you went to so you stayed around Kenwood in that area.
My father actually lived down the street from Kenwood, but we actually stayed on 72nd and King Drive. And if you look on that Just Say label, it'll say 7234 South King Drive. That was actually my actual address back then.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Matter of fact, the alderman in the ward is working on a honorary, like what do you call those things, like a landmark.
Okay.
To establish it'll go in front of that house.
Really?
Hey, that would be dope.
Who's the alderman over there?
Rod Sawyer.
Rod Sawyer, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
His dad did some big things, and that's my old alderman. His dad did some big things.
My grandfather was like this.
Eugene.
Yeah. Terrence don't know who that is.
My grandfather was alderman of that ward in the 50s.
For real?
And he passed it and groomed, Eugene to be alderman. He passed it to him. And then it's like a legacy that Rod has it now. Because we're we keep it in the family, we can control that area.
That's what's up.
Okay. All right.
Little Chicago history. Well-known Chicago history, man. We love that. Quick question, man. Like you said, you only come back for that week. Some of us, we've been going to the house picnic since it was behind the museum, man. Like, we love the house picnic. I know people, man, Essence Fest, house picnic. Man, I'm going to the house picnic. Like, it just don't. So, like, did you all ever know that it would get as big as it is today? Did you all ever have like a little foreshadowing to that?
Of course not. Anything that happens that becomes like a legacy or something bigger than all of us, because it's bigger than us. It's not just about the chosen few. It's all of us. We've all made it what it is. You know what I'm saying? So anything that's like that, because I get asked the question all the time, did you know that house music was going to do this, or did you know you were starting something that would become world? It's like, of course I didn't. I'm in a basement by myself, just messing around with stuff, you know, and track. And the next thing I know, I'm putting out records. Next thing I know, people are buying them all over the world. Next thing I know, they're doing news stories and articles. Hell no. I didn't know any of that stuff. I'm this little shy kid because I was shy back in those days. I didn't even want to look up when I was DJing because there was people out there, right? So I'm like, the last thing I want to be is in front of a whole bunch of people watching me and looking at me. So no, you don't know that stuff.
Beautiful. Well, it's epic, brother. We love it. Look forward to it every year too.
All right, I'm gonna tell you a little story again. I got stories. Y'all know this.
Yeah, we want the stories. Come on.
We like it. We love it.
I'm gonna tell you how the Chosen Few festival, as it is now, started. Right.
Okay.
So I'm in Cali. Tony Hatchett's in Houston. Wayne and Allen are still there. You know, Andre's still there, obviously. And me and Tony are on the phone one day, and we're talking to Kim Parham, who's also one of our partners as well. We all like grew up together as kids, the whole 9 yards. So we're on the phone talking. Alan's on the phone too. We actually were doing a four-way, so Alan's on the phone, and we're like, man, you know, those days of the Loft and Fulton Market and, you know, First Impressions and what, those are the days. It's like, because, you know, we had all gone off. He's in law school. Or he probably graduated law school by then, but, you know, we were all off in our careers and doing our own things differently, right? Never disbanded the Chosen Few, but we just hadn't been doing anything with it for about 5-6 years at this time, right? So this is 89. This is like December of 1989. And we said, you know what? We should rent a loft and throw a party. Just like the old days. Bring it back like the old days, right? Well, we decided to do it around Christmas. We found a loft that had absolutely no heat in the dead of winter in Chicago. And we were like, okay, we're going to do this party. So we had this one big space heater in the place. And it had to be at least -5 that day, at least. It was freezing cold. So we're sitting up in here, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just freezing, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Nobody showed up, right? And like 1 or 2 people. We're thinking, okay, we'll just pack it up and go. At 11:45, there was a line down the block and all around the building. By like midnight, 12:15, that place was packed. And you didn't even need no heat, right? It went to like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, at the end of it, we were all like, you know, we should do this again. But we were like, we ain't doing it in the winter. We're going to have to move it to the summer, right? We're not doing Chicago winters no more. So the Hatchets used to have a 4th of July picnic behind the museum. We basically hijacked their 4th of July picnic, brought out turntables and said, hey, we're just going to spin and play some music. And as you know, through the years, just grew and grew and grew and grew. And that's where it all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now it's political because the city is all involved in the picnic.
The city's not really involved. The city is not involved in the picnic. What the city has finally done after all these years is they've acknowledged that this is a real event, that it's something that they can be proud of and put on their calendar and whatnot. Because if they supported us, they wouldn't be charging us all the money they charge for us to do it. I mean, our permits are ridiculous. I mean, all the stuff that, you know, now we got to have everybody involved from fire to police and aldermen. Thank God all the aldermen, Leslie Hairston and Rod, are like family to us, and we all grew up with them. So they fight for us too. But it's like, it's not really the city doing it for us. They just have to acknowledge it at this point.
Well, they doing it to us right in the asshole because we got to pay all that money to go. I remember when it used to be free. We didn't have
to do.
Yeah. Well, you know,
instead of back in the museum.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like when it started to become a problem, because initially, probably like the first 10 years, 11 years or more, we had a basic permit. Some years they were like, you don't even need a permit. Every year, just go, right? When it started getting big, and I remember this year had to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2005-ish in that area. I think it was the year we first inducted Terry Hunter.
Terry Hunter, okay.
And we had about at least a few thousand people that year. And that was our last year behind the museum, because what had happened was now that area next to the lagoon that we took off of Cornell and all that kind of stuff was starting to become filled. You know, when we first started, there was enough room for us to play softball, football, and all kinds of stuff. By now, people, blankets, and all kinds of stuff all the way out. And by this time, tents started to spring up too, because we had that 1 year, I think it was like 98, 99, 97, somewhere in there, that we got rained on. Right. And that's another thing about our picnic too, is that in 30 years, we've only been rained on twice. I mean, we've had sprinkles and showers here and there, but considering we're in Chicago, we've had all that good weather the whole time. So anyway, tents started sprouting up, and people were around the lake on the other side by the tennis courts in the midways and all kinds of stuff. So the city was like, you all can't do it over here no more. That's when Leslie Hairston stepped in. And you know, at that point, they wanted for us to pay for more, you know, a permit, and they wanted us to have production and all kinds of stuff. And like, you know, we were paying for this out of our pocket, you know, so it's kind of like we weren't making any money on it. We did it for the love, because, you know, everybody loved it. So at that point, it was like, we need to come up with X amount of dollars or we can't do it. So that's where Leslie stepped in, found us sponsors, found us the whole 9 yards. So Leslie is really, honestly, Leslie Hairston is the reason why we are in Chicago right now, or at Jackson Park. If it hadn't been for her, you know, we support her. She and I were in Jack and Jill together. We grew up together, the whole 9 yards. Her and Alan went to school together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like family, and we support her, and obviously we support her campaign and everything to, you know, keep her in office, the whole 9 yards, because she supports us as well. So that's the reason why we're there. If it hadn't been for her, see, people want to say it's the city. It ain't okay. Yeah, she works for the city. But she's working for her neighborhood. She ain't working for the city. She's working for us in her neighborhood. So,
okay,
that's a great story.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, all of them great stories, man. I've learned a lot just in this little hour. I've learned a lot about house music, man. Yeah,
I got a question.
sure.
You know what? Like, cause you know, there's a couple things you wanted as a kid growing up. You know, when house music hit, everybody wanted to be a DJ. Everybody wanted some turntables. So I want to get some 1200s. Couldn't get 1200s. We didn't have that type of money. So a buddy was selling some. They were SBLD ones, techniques though. Belt drive, you know, belt drive. And boy, if you, it's like the house party movie. You bump the table, everything is they were belt driven turntable. So when we first got our hands on some 1200s, like, wait a minute, these are direct. You could actually, you know, put a little weight on them. So after a while, then house music, as we kind of got a little older or whatever, and then hip hop started coming. I said, man, we want to make beats. I want to get an 808. We couldn't find any 808s, and the ones we could find, they were so expensive. So you had an 808, so I mean, you had a little money.
Oh, like I said, I grew up in a pretty. my grandfather was alderman. Come on, man. You know, okay, so my grandfather also was Robert H. Miller. And if you know that name, that's Miller Major Huckleberry Funeral Home. So we own those funeral homes. And my grandfather was also mayor of Bronzeville for 2 terms.
Okay.
He and Al Capone were like this. He actually got him and his mother their first houses.
Nice.
Wow.
So that's actually another book and another script I'm going to write, because there's a whole thing behind that. It's like, just to give you a little bit real quick. Funeral directors, especially black funeral directors who owned funeral homes back in those days, were the only source of money for any business owners. You couldn't go to a white bank and get any money back in those days. They look at you like you're crazy. What you doing here, nigga? It ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So you went to the funeral director, because those were the only people that were in the neighborhoods that actually had real money, right? So my grandfather started an organization called the National Funeral Directors and Morticians Association, where he brought all of the black funeral directors from all over the country together in a coalition. They started to pool their money, right? In these days, you know about burial insurance?
Yeah, burial.
Well, that was started by the National Funeral Directors and Morticians Association. And what they used were those premiums to raise funds to fund necessary black things, such as March on Selma, Marshall and Washington, all the civil rights, Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, you name it, all those things were generally funded by the National Funeral Directors and Morticians Association.
Wow.
Another historic gem.
Wow. Yeah.
Shifting gears for a quick moment. We had a question coming in. It says, ask you about the music box.
What about the music box?
I don't know. The guy just said ask about the music box. Do you have any?
Chuck, can you elaborate?
Man,
I'll tell you a little bit about the music box. One of my favorite things to talk about is Ron Hardy. Okay. And the reason why it is because he was a good friend of mine. And I got to know him, believe it or not, out in LA, not in Chicago. Because when I came out here, he was playing like everywhere and everything. Back in those days, there was a club called the Catch One, which was the equivalent of the Warehouse for LA. And Billy Long played there. Billy brought in Ron Hardy to play. He started playing everywhere. And it wasn't until I think his brother died or something. I forget. A family member died, and he went back to Chicago. Ron did from LA. And when he went back was when Robert and Frankie had basically parted ways, and Robert wanted to start a new club. Well, that new club was, of course, it didn't one. So that's
wow.
Hey, but you see how them roots keep intertwining like that? That's
there's always a story, man. And that's the thing. It's like when you start talking and putting lies out there, basically to put yourself in a situation that you never were, you can't join things together like this. You don't know that. So when people start to, and it's funny because sometimes people will say stuff to me and I just sit there and look at them like, really? Okay.
You already know.
Like you talking to the wrong person. You have no idea who you talking to.
Right. Dang.
Well, this has been a good history lesson, man. And so this is the first book.
That's the first. Actually, that's the second edition of the first.
Second edition.
That's a second publishing. Yeah.
Okay. It just came. They just delivered it yesterday. I'm gonna start reading it tonight.
Okay.
I can't wait. But
yeah, I wrote that book in the end of '98, and I wrote it as a tribute to my mom who passed away earlier in that year.
Oh,
because my mom was the single, probably most important influence, not because she was my mother, but because she was there for every single thing that I needed along the way to make this journey happen. She was my chief financier, she was my supporter. I mean, I don't know if you guys were familiar with the programs called Urban Gateways in Chicago.
Yeah,
they went to the school system. Basically, what they were kind of what we call after school programs now. Is basically what it was. And she got me hooked up in that when I first started the label to go into schools and teach people how to make music with sequencers and drum machines and stuff. So that's where that whole education. And even now, I have an educational foundation. We do that for schools all over the country and whatnot. But that was basically because of her. So I wrote that book in tribute to her. And, I'm not a writer, never claimed to be a writer. I can write songs, but I'm not a writer. I'm not somebody who's going to sit there and craft out a whole book and a whole 9 yards. I decided, years before I had started it, and I was trying to get someone to ghostwrite it for me. But everybody I encountered wanted to write it their way. And I'm like, well, this ain't your story. Why would you write it your way? So I ended up not using any of them. And finally, I just said, you know what? By the end of this year, I'm going to finish this book in tribute to my mom. So that first edition came out in '99. And guess who was the first person to buy a copy of it?
Farley.
Frankie.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was '99. It got republished. We rewrote it and got a publishing deal at that time. The first one I self-published and did it myself. Second one I got a publishing deal, and it came out in 2007. That's the one you got. No, you just ordered that from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Flip it over. Let me see the back of it. That's the third publishing, actually, what you have.
Oh.
That's the one that was just done last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and Frankie were pretty tight then.
Well, that's another story. How much time we got?
All the time you want. I'm in it.
Well, check this out. I'm going to give you a little story. So Frankie was the first person to play On and On in a club other than me. Right? Took it to the power plant. He put it on within 30, 40 minutes. Now, the reason why that's so significant is because Frankie is notorious from everybody else of never playing their record in the power plant the first time you bring it to him. When people say that to me, I was like, well, he put mine on right away, whatever. But he was the first person to do that. And we didn't have like a close relationship, but we were cool. You know what I'm saying? Until Jamie came out with his record, and this wasn't even my fault. So
Jamie Principle.
I did a record. I don't know if you guys remember, called Dum Dum.
Dum Dum, yeah, I remember Dum Dum.
Okay.
It was two versions of Dum Dum, right?
Parts 1 and part 2, yeah.
Okay.
But the original version of Dum Dum had the A side was a dum 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 dum, dum 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 dum. But on the B side, I did like tracks and stuff that I love to play and like kind of put stuff over them and like a mashup of what we call it today or whatever, right? So I did The Glamorous Life and I did a track called The Real Love, right? In The Real Love, I took the little sequence. Actually, I didn't even take that part. I played that part over again. That do from Your Love, right? And that's what became Real Love. So once I guess Frankie, Jamie, whomever, I don't remember I know who it was. All I know is it resulted in a record that he did a couple years later, where I don't know if you guys remember this or you really notice it, but there's a part in there where he goes, Jamie, I hate thieves.
No.
I think it's is it in Bad Boy or Baby Wants to Ride? One of those records. You go back and listen to it. You'll hear it. That became a problem. Tonight.
Whoa.
Yeah, that became a problem for me. Like, I didn't steal nothing. First off, see, my biggest problem is I'm educated and I educate myself on the business. You cannot copyright an arrangement. You can only copyright melodies and specific lyrics and sequences of lyrics to make hooks, period. So no, nobody stole anything. Actually, if anything, it was more a tribute to the fact that this was we all knew Your Love was a record, but it wasn't even out at that point. They hadn't even released it yet, right? So anyway, make a long story short, that's where the thing started happening. So they got word in their camp that, Jesse's a thief. And in my camp, we were like, oh, no, we ain't having that kind of stuff, right? So it kind of drove a wedge between us, through the years. Not on my behalf, because again, I wasn't even in Chicago. I didn't care. But I would hear stuff all the time, right?
Right.
And I remember one year we did a Chosen Few pre-party at the Green Dolphin, right? And we had Frankie play that year. And I saw Frankie in the parking lot, that time. And, we saw each other, gave each other a hug, the whole 9 yards, and, shook hands and everything. And it was so funny because people were looking at us like we were crazy because they're thinking we're beefing and stuff. It was like, we ain't never had a beef, ever. As a matter of fact, like I said, he's the first person to buy my book. You know what I'm saying? But to make a long story short, it was like this whole process went along. Well, it was exacerbated by the fact that Larry Sherman decided to do a cover of Waiting on My Angel. Remember that on Precision? So before they could even, because all those records, Waiting on My Angel, Your Love, never came out originally. They were made probably 3 years before they ever were released, right? So Larry did the same thing as Farley. If they ain't gonna release it, I'll release it myself, right? And in those days, the only person that could really like produce things around that was myself. I was doing all that stuff. So he's like, listen, I want you to do this and you're gonna sing it too. And I'm just like, whatever. That created like a whole thing. When you read the book, you'll actually see there's a whole, is it in? Yeah, it's in there, but there's a whole section about that. And just to give you a little bit of it real quick.
Oh boy.
Larry consulted Linda Mitch, who was our attorney at the time. And I hear rumors that she's she was cool, so I'm not gonna say anything. But I hear rumors that something happened and she's no longer being a lawyer at this point. Whatever.
Uh-oh.
But so and she was good. Don't get me wrong. I don't know what happened or what, because she represented a lot of big Chicago bands, you know, from Cheap Trick to Confunction and all of, you know, back in the day. So anyway, consulted her and found out that even though they were now forming Persona Records and were going to release Waiting on My Angel as the first Jamie single, that you only had to wait 24 hours once it was released, then you can do a cover of it.
No.
That was the
yeah. So we went in and we produced.
Did a cover immediately?
24 hours. So we went in, but see the difference is funny because I just heard it on the radio yesterday and I was thinking to myself, God, that sounds so rudimentary. You listen to our version is like polished gospel. It's just got Sean Christopher and, you know, and all the best vocalists back then are like doing the background. This is an amazing thing, right? But anyway, make a long story short, they sued because they didn't know the law, obviously. You know, they sued thinking like it's copyright infringement and you can't do that or whatever. Not knowing, so it ends up going to court, and the judge rules. Well, first off, we changed the lyrics, which is the first thing. They were like, you can't change my song lyrics and you can't put my song out at the same time I'm putting it out, right? So both of those were wrong because yes, you can. And actually, if you look on the law books today, there's a precedent that Vince and I, you know, actually have on the books. It states that if new lyrics are written to a song and it's not derogatory to the original and only enhances the value of that song, then it's legal.
Wow.
Exactly.
Really?
So yeah, so we ended up winning both lawsuits.
So they didn't do
They had a cease and desist order, and they lost that, so they had to pay us damages. Well, I don't even want to say us because it wasn't us; it was Larry Sherman, but I was involved in it, and they had to pay damages for that. And you know, like I said, it's on the books, so we won both lawsuits.
Wow.
But that's one thing that I stress to everybody in this business coming up is always A, learn your history, B, obtain the knowledge to everything you're doing, because just because of something says that it's this way doesn't always make it that way. There are always extenuating circumstances. There are always exceptions to the rule, so on and so forth. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and steal somebody's song, you know, or anything like that, but what could possibly be considered stealing by someone who's not educated enough to know the difference might put you in a position that you don't want to be in.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So we have a question from Chuck Most. He said, who started playing the MLK speech over tracks?
Well, you know who did that first? Your boy Farley.
Oh, okay.
Farley did that first.
Yeah, he did it over the Mr. Fingers track.
Can you feel that? Yeah, okay.
That's Farley.
Yeah.
He did that.
All right.
And he was also he actually was the one that did Said You Were My Lady. And you know, he first started doing that over tracks. I actually got it from him.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Said what's that? Status 4?
Yep. Status 4. Yep.
Status 4. Yeah.
You do know something, huh?
Yeah, man, I know. I've listened to a couple. I've listened to a couple of songs.
That was Farley. Farley, you know, I give him his credit. He did a lot of pioneering things back in those days that other people like. He was one person that would get on the mic. No other house DJ would get on the mic. Probably be all. Sometimes we had to tell him to shut up because he'd be all on the mic. You know, but I mean, he's the one that kind of took that to that other level that we had never done.
Yeah.
Okay, good question there, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck Most.
Yeah, Chuck. Okay, well, you know, he had another question too. He said, how were the clubs monetized? Were the DJs making good money? So
Well,
two
no,
questions.
DJs never made money back in those days. I mean, not comparable to like the kind of money we can make today, you know.
Okay.
And obviously, you know, 30, 35 years ago or more, 40 years ago, you know, the value is different. But, you know, if we made $50, you know, $100, like at the playground, I made $150 a night. That was like the most that anybody was making at that time. And that was because I played from 9 p.m. to 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. There was no opening DJ. There was no nothing at that point. So
All
I
you.
deserved every bit of that $150, you know. But then, you know, Farley was making $200 for guest appearance because he was on the radio. You know, so Hot Mix 5, they were making that kind of money. But other than that, like the Chosen Few, we would make money as a collective because people were booking our crew to DJ their parties. So, you know, if we got like $200-300, we split that up between 4 of us. So it still wasn't but $50, you know, $75.
You had some gas money and a sandwich.
Yeah. I actually I did a remake of It's Okay this year. And one of the guys that remixed it took a quote from me. I think it was a resident advisor interview or something, Red Bull, whatever, where I was saying that, you know, as a DJ, nobody cared about us. We were stuck in some back room in a closet, and all we were there for was people to make requests. They didn't care about us. Yeah.
So he also asked, "What Ron Hardy was making money
Chuck
at the
must
bar?"
be in the game, man. Well, Chuck got a lot of insight.
Again, of course they're making money. I mean, I can't say how much they're making, but I know the going rate for a DJ back in those days was just not much. If you were making, and I mean, think about it. I was at the playground playing for 1,500 people a night, and I was only making a 150. So you can imagine what, like at the warehouse where they only can fit in like 150, 200 people, or you know what I'm saying? Those places were small. Now, again, I don't know how much they were making, but they couldn't have been making much more than me.
We were talking about that. We were talking about that a couple of days ago, about like going to the warehouse and going to these clubs. He said, "Man, every time I go out to the box or go to the warehouse," he said, "You know, from time to time you go out and you see fights outside, and you see stuff, people, you know, acting a fool. We go up to White Castle after that, and people might act a fool at White Castle or something. But there was," he said, "I can't ever remember a fight being at the box or a fight being at the warehouse."
No, well, you know, the one thing that I always say, and basically every interview or thing that I say, is like house music is the one thing that bridges the gap for people. It takes a person, like, for instance, put one guy in a hip hop club, somebody bumping them, step on his foot, he ready to fight. He probably will punch you or whatever. He gonna swing, right? Shit, hell, he might even pull out a gat or something. You know what I'm saying? Put that same person in a house music club, somebody bumps into him, he wants to give you a hug. It's all right, my brother.
That is true. That is true. It's a whole different vibe.
Yeah, the energy is different.
Yep. Totally.
Jesse, I have a text message question.
Hmm.
Are we doing the house party this year?
Virtually.
Oh, just virtually. Okay.
Well, and here's the problem, because I've gotten a lot of people hit me up. It's like, we're doing Lollapalooza and they're doing all these other stuff. Why won't they do the picnic? What y'all don't understand is we get the most people out of all these events, right? The problem is it takes us 5-6 months to ramp up to it. By the time we got the okay that outdoor events were good, we didn't have that kind of time.
Gotcha. It would have been thrown together.
It's not the city against us. It's not them saying black people can't have nothing, because I've heard them all. It's like it has nothing to do with any of those things. It's because we don't have enough time to put it together the way that we want it. You know, we're perfectionists. You know, everything has to be done right. It has to be safe. It has to be everything. Otherwise, we just won't do it. So,
gotcha. See you in 2022.
In 2022, exactly. But you know what's funny? I said last year that we probably would not be back in the park till 2022 anyway. So,
wow. Do you have a Twitch? You do?
Yeah, but I don't use it much. The only thing I really use it for is my show. I do my In Their Own Words show. I haven't been doing it lately, but that's the only thing I don't. You know, here's another interesting fact. In 2009, I did the 25th anniversary of House Music Tour. On that tour, I took art. I had artists all over the world create depictions of different DJs, places, things, made turntables out of wood and just crazy stuff, right? To do this whole art thing. And it was pretty much a success. So when I got back, I was like, it's a shame to put it in a warehouse and nobody gets to see it. So in Vegas, I opened up a place called the Electronic Music Cafe, right? It's supposed to be a play on the, Hard Rock Cafe type of thing, right? So in that, what we did was we made it a creative emporium, and I call a creative emporium a situation where people from different creative structures or whatever can come together and collaborate and work, right? So you'd have people designing stuff, making art, doing all this. You have painters painting. You'd have photographers in there doing sessions with models and all this simultaneously. We had body paint competitions, the whole 9 yards. Thing we were missing was having a DJ set up. So we started bringing a DJ in there and doing what Twitch is today. We were live streaming back then. We actually had the artists. We would put a camera on them, green screen it into the DJ. So every movement that DJ made was like a piece of art on their arms or play off the wall and stuff like that. So we were doing that for years, right? And then I closed it down after a while because it was more labor of love and it wasn't making me no money. So I was just kind of like, I need to go work so I can make some more money. But we were doing that in 2009, 2010.
Nothing new then.
Not for me. And I mean, it's great, especially when we were in a pandemic. I mean, we're still in a pandemic, but when we were in quarantine and everything, it's great because you could see everybody. And I probably for the first maybe 2 months or so, I was live streaming, but then I got involved in writing a book. And after that, I got involved with, I bought some land and I'm building a project called Sustenance Community now, which is basically an arts and music off-grid project where people can be housed and live. And we do our own organic farming and our solar farms, septic, the whole 9 yards. And started doing a lot of desert festivals, which we've been doing all along, because desert festivals now, because you couldn't be in a club, are huge, right? So out here, like yesterday, we just did a beach party for Memorial Day. We got 500 people out on the beach. Police are sitting there like, don't even care. They let us do what we want to do. They don't bother you or nothing. But I mean, that's what's going on. So those type of projects I got involved in that, for me, we were never really in a lockdown. I mean, technically it was supposed to be one, but it wasn't like Chicago where you guys were, it hit you guys bad. Where we were, we had nobody out here hardly. We didn't have any cases or anything. So we could pretty much do whatever we wanted to do, hiking or whatever. So it's just been going on all along. And that's the reason why I haven't really done much of that, because I've been involved in so many other projects and things.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Cool. Well, Jesse, I don't know. What time is it over there? Like 8 o'clock?
It is 8:09.
Okay. Well,
and my Lakers are playing, so.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up no more time there. You want to go watch the Lakers?
Do you want the score?
No.
No. He said no.
I don't want it. I want to go see it.
I hate to see what's going to happen.
I'll just say this. It's almost halftime.
Okay.
I hate to see what's going to happen when they have to face those Nets, though.
Yeah.
Who? I hate to see what's going to happen.
The problem is this. AD's not playing today, so I don't expect him to be up. I expect him to be down. But it's still LeBron. LeBron's still there, so there's always a chance. We'll see.
Yes, it is. Yes,
he's a 36-year-old freak of nature, ain't he?
Exactly.
You see that dunk yesterday? Oh my!
You know what's crazy? I've never in my life.
All 10 years ago, man. I ain't about that.
I've never in my life been a LeBron fan. I hated LeBron.
I ain't no LeBron fan.
I won't call myself a fan. What I will say is exactly what you just said, JB. He's a freak of nature.
I respect his greatness.
I respect him.
Yeah, I respect him, but
I definitely respect his greatness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Michael Jordan dude.
Of course, you got to be a
Yeah.
Michael Jordan dude. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, man, Jesse, we ain't gonna take up no more of your time, man, but we appreciate you
Hey,
coming.
Jesse, I would love if you could come back, man. Like once we get a little
Definitely.
bit of this summer vibe moving and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I know he's got a lot more to talk about. I know.
Look, you
Most
got me on
definitely.
ears and I'm on ears like this, man. Keep going. Like I want to hear it all.
I've written 2 books and I've done 8 documentaries. I think I got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you got a lot more to talk about.
Real quick, Jesse, tell us how we can get a hold of some of those books. I know T said one of them was on Amazon.
They're all
Right.
on Amazon.
Oh,
They're all
both
on Amazon.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
All on Amazon.
What's the name of the second one?
In Their Own Words.
In Their Own Words. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's basically the premise of that book. Is I found people from all around the world
Mhm.
to tell their story of house music, how they found it, what it means to them, why they're still involved in it today. And what's so amazing about that is that although it's similar, how it's touched their lives and how they found it, each story is so different in terms of what it means to them and why.
Gotcha.
I had people through the years always tell me house music has saved my life. You know, you take that as a cliche, but then when they start like really getting in depth about it and saying, yeah, I was gang banging, I got shot 5 times or whatever. And if I hadn't heard house music or whatever and got into this thing, I probably would still be doing that. It literally saved my life.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
It's so inspirational. Like it's from childhood to adulthood, it's touched everybody in some kind of way. It really has.
Yeah.
It really has.
House music soothes the savage beast.
I like that. I like that.
Definitely. All right, Jesse. Well, appreciate you, man. And hopefully your Lakers win. But like I said, I hate to see what happens when they face the Nets. I hate to see it. But
this isn't really a Lakers season. I mean, everybody's been down the whole season. The fact that we're even in the playoff right now is really amazing. So even if they don't even get past this round, I don't care. I mean, I care, but it's like it's not a big deal to me because I ain't really expecting to even be in the playoffs.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But that just shows you how great they are. So
there it is.
Be back next year. But you know what? What'll be really funny is if somehow they pull this out and they win it again. That'll be funny.
Hey, we'll bring you back and we'll have a recap. Hey,
right.
I want to talk to Jesse like next week. Like, I don't even want to wait too long.
I'm gonna tell you how I became a Laker fan real quick too. So obviously I was a Bulls fan, Michael Jordan, Gotti, excuse me. So after they did that craziness by letting everybody go, which was the stupidest thing in the world to me. I didn't understand that. Phil came to the Lakers.
Correct.
I didn't care about the Lakers till Phil came and Rodman came, and it was like 3 or 4 Bulls on the Lakers. So that's when I actually became a fan.
Ron Harper, yep.
Ron Harper, exactly. And then right at that point was when Kobe came.
96, yeah.
96, that's right. Yeah, that's where it happened.
They were making noise.
My mom just texted me Laker love. You see it in the background,
right? I saw you shaking your head though, so they must be down.
Hey, you said don't say nothing. I'm not saying nothing.
Hey Jesse, real quick, since you're out in LA, do you live close to SoFi, the football stadium?
The stadium.
No, that's in Inglewood. I live on the complete opposite direction of there.
Okay.
You're more SoCal?
No, it's north.
I'm north.
NorCal. Okay.
I'm north of I'm SoCal. I'm just north of that's
in
Inglewood. That's by the airport.
Right.
That's by Compton, by Long Beach, all that area down there. I'm on the other side in a different valley called the Antelope Valley.
Okay. Closer to the Vegas side.
Actually, I'm only 2.5 hours from Vegas. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
About an hour and 15.
Cousins that stay in Long Beach and in that area. So
yeah, I'm about an hour and 15 minutes from the city of LA, and 2.5 hours from Vegas.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
So I'm like
Best
right
of
in the
both.
middle. I can go to the Bay Area, I can go to the city, I can go to San Diego, I can go to Mexico, I can go to Vegas. That's pretty much my radius.
Oh, that's
I was like, hey, well, you want to go to Mexico, go to Cabo? I was like, dude, I can drive 2.5 hours. I'm in Mexico. I don't need to go to Cabo.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Jesse, we sure appreciate it. Everybody go to Amazon right now. Get
Most
this
definitely.
book. Get the other book. Jesse, we are hopefully going to have you back maybe before year end.
Soon.
Because like you said, you got way more stuff to talk about, and we want to hear it.
You haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg, my brother.
Nope. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Exactly.
But all right, Jesse, go watch them Lakers, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's
Man,
been a pleasure.
brother.
It's been a pleasure, Jesse.
I'll
For
talk
sure,
with
man. Thank you. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Definitely, Mr. Jesse, the originator of house music. Appreciate
Most
it.
definitely.
you.
Peace, y'all.
All right.
All right.
Man, oh man.
That was dope. That was dope.
Hey,
we got backstory after backstory after backstory.
did you not feel like you were just in class and got a Chicago history lesson?
Oh, no question. No.
We got schooled.
Like I was up there like, let me take some notes, Sue.
Okay.
Hey,
Farley was the first with the MLK over the tracks. Okay.
I did not know that.
And you ain't really down.
Frankie
Yes.
wasn't what we thought, Frankie, you know.
Okay.
Right. So, hey, man, real quick, since it's getting late,
Hmm?
I know we usually, we started talking in depth about the Shy, but since it's getting late, maybe she could sum it up in like 5 minutes. But she's back, and hopefully with a little more energy, and she won't call nobody fat.
Uh-oh.
Okay, wait, what are you talking about, T?
Remember when we had Erica come talk about the Shy?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. Well, she called the kids fat, man. They're not fat. They're growing. But she still knew what she was talking about, but yeah, I didn't like that part. I didn't like that part. But anyway, she's back and she
Look,
said
J.I.
that
like, what?
she watched it this time. J.I., don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Hey, I want to chop it up with Erica. Let her know about the Shy. Like I watched it and I have some mixed reviews.
Okay.
Did you watch it, J.I.?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Hey,
I have a love-hate relationship with the Shy.
All right. Well, let's bring her in and we can talk about it. Erica. Here she is. Hello, Erica.
How are you guys?
What's good, Erica?
Hi.
Hey,
y'all good.
Irving. Okay, you weren't here when I was here last week.
Did you miss me?
You can't miss what you never had, but it's a pleasure to meet you now.
Okay.
Okay. So jumping right into it, the Shy this past Sunday started out with a bang. Right?
Okay.
So you take it from there.
It started with a bang. Okay. So maybe we have a different interpretation.
A bang, I guess.
All right. Well, how did it start for you?
It started for me. They wasn't the beginning where. Okay, so we left off with what's his name? And I don't know his character's name.
Trick.
With him stomping out the cop or beating the cop with the brick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. So when we come in, I always forget the beginning, Terrence. So you're gonna have to jog that part. Because I don't remember the beginning being that exciting.
Well, I thought, like J.I. said, there were mixed reviews about it. But actually, we could just sum it up. We don't have to.
It was well. I can tell you something real quick. It wasn't really clear to me at first. I figured Trigg may have been the one to beat the cop up, and I was like, okay. And then when he was talking to his girl about it, then I said, okay, he got some get back on the cop. And then when the mayor went to talk to the cop, there's like real big friction between the mayor and I guess his wife, who's played by Candy. So there's a little bit of friction. They can't control him. He's walking through the entire episode with a scowl on his face, like, you know, he's defunding the police. I was like, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
I was in that scene.
I saw you.
Okay, now I gotta go.
Hold on. The only reason I'm watching is to see you. Hey, look here, man. If you don't let us know when you're gonna be on, man, I ain't gonna be supporting you.
I was in that scene, but you couldn't see me. I was also in the scene where Rolando Darnell went to the school reunion. I was in there too, but you couldn't.
I'm gonna need you to start freeze framing that stuff. And
you know, actually, Bullets did freeze frame when I was in season 3, episode 5. He froze it and sent it to me.
Yeah.
Well, then you need to send it to us because I didn't see you last week and I was very upset.
Erica, it was a little all over the place. It made me kind of sad a little bit when I guess Emmett's mom found out that, you know,
breast cancer.
Yes. Yeah. And I was a little, so I felt sorry for her because I was mad at her. I've been mad at her for almost like a year.
Why?
Messing with the masseuse. That's kind of
if like, you were the masseuse, you would be mad.
I don't like him. He's I just, you ever had a character in a show you just don't like?
Yes.
He's annoying.
Yeah, he can, yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand that dynamic. Like what's going on? You know, well, okay, yeah. They had a couple of annoying characters.
Hell, Emmett is annoying, especially when I saw him do Sunday.
So this is why I say I don't know what you mean with the bang, Terrence, because I remember how it started. It started with Kevin coming home with an attitude, and so now Kevin is. I think Kevin is really selfish. Because Kevin is acting like a B word and has this big attitude and chip on his shoulder. And I'm like, I'm not making light of the whole situation, but you're not even the one that got beat up. So I understand that you saw that and that was traumatic, but that's nothing compared to what your sister went through. And he's like being a total jerk in light of what she went through. And now you want everybody to rally around you like you got these problems, and I'm like, dude, you don't have a problem.
So
now you drinking and having white boys pressure you into doing drugs. You know what I mean?
Well, see, and that's part of the reason why I said with a bang. I'm talking about the whole college tour where Jake is now playing in the snow. Jim is getting on Kevin's fucking nerves. And I think that's kind of where the relationship between Jim and Jake is starting.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But that is the reason why I said it started out with bang, because now we're kind of seeing things shift a bit.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. We got I don't know the name, but we have
Seal-san?
Yeah, it says he got PTSD from the run-in with the cops. The run-in that you were talking about, Erica, that was pretty much more Jake. Well, the cop drew the gun on him and told him to back up too. So he was kind of, and you know what? You feel kind of helpless, I guess, because you can't help your buddy you want to help, but I don't know.
I get it. I just think it's a bit much.
If
he doesn't want to talk about it. I get it if he gets nervous when he sees, like when he saw the cop car go by, and I get that. I don't get why you have an attitude with everyone around you, though.
Yeah, that's who he's been for a minute, though. Yeah, he's a little boy.
No,
he's not. No,
He's
he's
a
not.
little boy.
No, he's not.
He's 16 years
Well,
old.
I don't know. These kids grew up fast. They were little
Grew up
kids in grammar
fast,
school.
true.
Now they having they having sex scenes and the doggone and the thing. So it's a little all over the place.
So, like, if you were 16 years old, you had a gun pulled on you, and saw your best friend get beat. He got the shit beat out of him. How would you feel about that?
T Nick, this it's not
You
called
don't even tell your story. That's happened.
The show is called the shot. It's not called Plain Field. So yeah, that's happened. So I mean, you know what? That's
no. I said to you.
Hold on, it's happened. It's happened.
Either to or being a witness to.
It's happened. So
did you walk around being a dick to everybody after?
No, you know what?
Right.
And here's
the part I don't get.
Here's what
some people deal with that shit different ways.
Yes. But when you grow up around it and it's a million and one things happening, this shouldn't be that shocking to you. I know that sounds kind of like I'm not being empathetic, but I can empathize with it. But some of the stuff that we classify as trauma, if you're raised, we figured out how to adapt in this situation. So hearing the cops go by while you're on a school bus, it shouldn't have your nerves bad at 16. The cops.
Right.
What do you?
That should not cause any type of PTSD.
I think I'm with Erica on that. And then he's grumpy with his girlfriend, who seems really a positive force.
How can
I love her character. And normally that's not my thing. You know, all these wokies, but I kind of like her.
Right.
Yeah, but I kind of like her.
The fuck is a wokie?
It's like that's the 2021 hippies where everything is the conspiracy theorists. Everything is no and doggone hoteps. But that's a different. Don't let me get into that.
Hoteps?
Don't let me get into that, because then it'd be like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this Uncle Ruckus guy?
Right, y'all about to start some mess.
Papa and his girl, love it. Love the little rap scene they did.
Thank you, Bullets.
Love that energy.
Bullets just said, T.
She got bars. That little girl got bars. What?
I thought they were unnecessary.
Well, Papa and his girl?
I mean, I just was like, okay, that's cute, but I don't know. I wasn't really into their.
Right. You right, Bullets.
You right. He's saying I'm going to call it.
They add another element. That little relationship that adds another element to the whole show, because like J.I. said earlier, it's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to say they're all over the place, because that gives it a negative connotation. There's a lot of different things. Yeah, it does, because a lot of people say, well, it's all over the place, so I can't fuck with it no more.
No, I mean, I like it. I mean, check this out. If we can't be friends, can we at least be enemies at some point? So I'm on your mind and in your mouth some way or another. Like, if you're not going to talk about, if you really don't like somebody, you're going to talk about them from time to time. As much as I'm not going to talk about you at all. That's not true. But if it's somebody you're totally indifferent about, if I was totally indifferent, I wouldn't be speaking about it one way or the other. I wouldn't remember that. You know, hey, this dude went from, no, I'm cool on the Molly and the Coke and the sniffing. Then all of a sudden he said, yeah, okay, I'll take some. And I was like, he kind of did a U-turn quickly on that one. He was playing the video games. He was doing this. He was doing that. So I said, okay. So now he comes back. He gets kicked out of the thing kicked off the tour. His sister has really adjusted well, and some like coming back from her. Now that's trauma. That to me, that's trauma.
Right.
And she's adjusted well. She's gotten a job. Every time she runs into a former classmate or a friend, they're looking at her. They don't really know how to. She seems to have adjusted better than anything. I kind of like that. I like the fact that everybody seems to be kind of doing their own thing. So when I say it is a little all over the place, because they have so many subplots. I can say, man, I don't like to drink this, smoke this, sniff this, and you do it. That's a little corny. I mean, but that's not but the masseuse, and then the mama got the nerve to be jealous. Like, you know how you met this guy?
Well, you're talking about at the reunion
party.
Yes.
That's a reunion.
She got the nerve to be jealous. Like, you hooked up with a gigolo. Like, what's the matter with you? Like, you were introduced to this dude by your son's baby mama and said, you need somebody to blow your back out. He comes, blows your back out, and you thought you were the only one? That's what he was referred to you for that service.
Right.
Hey, hold on, Jay. You might be the insider. You seem to keep going. You flowing, brother.
You know what? Hold on, let me tell you this. I have a love-hate relationship because I was like, man, this is so corny, but I gotta watch it. Man, that don't make sense, but I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
So listen, how old is Emmett? How old is Emmett?
Oh, he was a disappointment to me.
No, listen, let me tell you this. Emmett and Keisha, that's her name, right? Kevin's sister.
Yeah.
They look authentically Chicago to me too, by the way. And Jason Weaver, he's Chicago to the world.
Yeah, Jason Weaver, you know,
hey, a lot of
that dude is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Chicago.
No, hey, that's the dude that popped Duda. If you ask me, he came on this. Jason Weaver.
Hey T, get Jason Weaver, get Michael on the show, man.
You think he's gonna? He's the one that's gonna.
Listen.
Yeah, because his character right now is real ambiguous. We don't really know who he is,
and he looked like half a height right now. Like, yeah, he definitely he's definitely like on some weird stuff. Listen, I love it because I'm mad at the mom now, so I took my total focus off of Emmett and the writers of the show. Emmett was dating Keisha when the show started.
Right, they were banging.
Emmett several years out of high school, so Emmett calls the high school coach R. Kelly. Dude, you Trey Songz? You're a little younger than him, but you're definitely older than that girl that's in high school. She would be just getting out of high school now, and you 3 babies deep. So it's like, wait a minute, you're a grown man too. You're not as grown as the track coach, but for some reason or another, everyone's turned a blind eye to that. So when we talking about the trafficking and the grooming and the doubling back on little girls, when everybody tries to empathize, sympathize, or cape for make an excuse for R. Kelly, well, them girls knew what they was doing. You have they're playing a scene out like that on the show.
Well, Keisha was not 30.
Hold on, but it's still
him over 25.
No, hold on. I'm putting him at 24, 25, but she's still in high school. That's still not wrong. I wouldn't want my high school daughter to be messing with no 24,
nope.
And you're not doing it, and you got 3 kids. That's ridiculous.
I wouldn't either, but it's a reality.
Yeah, but then tell R. Kelly that. And he's in jail for a reality. And for whatever reason, people.
Yeah, I can't tell R. Kelly nothing right now.
He was a lot older than that, though.
So hold on. So we're not
saying with Aaliyah, but later.
I feel what you're saying, but we're not saying that it's the law. We're just saying that whatever we have in our culture is like, 25 is okay.
It's not.
If he was making records and Emmett was going platinum, they would be canceling him. But because he's working at a chicken place, it's okay. That's not right. We're the same thing that they're kind of trying to. Now that's a little all over the place in a bad way. It's a mixed message.
But it's reality though. I've been a 17-year-old girl and had men in their 20s want to date me. Like, it's a reality.
Yeah.
Even when R. Kelly, when that first started.
You said you was 10 and 20-year-olds wanted to date you?
Said 17.
No, I said 17.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've been a 17-year-old girl and 20-year-olds wanted to date me. When I was but worse than that, when I was a counselor in training at the Southside YMCA, I was 13 because my birthday wasn't until August, and the counselors were 18 and over, and they tried to get at us. This is reality. So when the first R. Kelly stuff first happened, not the Aaliyah thing, that was something else. But later on with the tape, I was like, yeah, he's getting off because that's like common practice. Like that happens daily. I was like, they're not convicting him. I was like, grown men may discuss it in front of people like it's disgusting, but they know people that do it if they haven't done it themselves.
Wait a minute.
It's so common.
It is, and that's kind of like some of the.
Wait, I have a problem. Why is that common?
Because it is.
Because it is.
Where?
Erica, in Chicago, at any high school.
Did you not hear me just say I was 13? And men 18 and over were trying to talk.
That should not be common.
But it is.
But it is.
You're right. It shouldn't be.
No, wait a minute. You know what should have happened did happen. That the truth is, when you see all you have to do is do the math. This young lady has a baby. Oh, who's the daddy? That guy. He's 9 years older than her. So you can do the math immediately. When you say, well, hey, wait a minute. These teenage girls are not having babies by a lot of them by teenage boys. These guys are in their early to mid 20s, maybe sometimes a little older than that. All you need is access to a car and maybe a little bit more trappings, and it makes you seem a little bit more worldly and grown. I mean, and that's not new. The only thing is now is our awareness to it and our sensitivity to it, and everybody has a platform now so they can pretend like they're really against it. But you know, because you'll catch somebody say what they really think. He's messing with those girls. If they thought it was rape, they would never refer to it as messing with. If it was a young child, a 12-year or 11, they wouldn't refer to it as messing with or getting at us.
Listen, when I went down as a freshman,
we ain't going back to our high school looking for no 16, 17-year-old.
I'm too old for that now.
Listen,
come on, man.
When I went to U of I as a freshman, I had just turned 18, right? Now, even though that's a legal age, understand I'm like 3 weeks off of 17, right? My birthday is in August. The first dudes we met were 5th year seniors. That means they were 22 years old. And we
shot them
with
down.
them the whole year.
Why?
And
you knew that. You knew they were old, man.
My friend dated one, and my friend dated another.
Hold on, but that's a little different.
Fine.
That's a little. You're in college, so you're technically peers. They might be a little bit more savvy.
Okay, no. By law, we're peers.
Way off.
Technically, by law, we're peers. Technically, we're not. My brain at 3 weeks off of 17 is not the same as a 22-year-old man.
You know that now. You didn't know that then, though. You probably have never been more grown than when you just turned 18.
No, I didn't know that then, but they did.
No, they didn't either.
I'm about to say they probably did.
Hey, can we get back to the shine real quick?
My bad. This is that doggone Emmett. You know, Emmett
Okay,
done. Listen, hold on, wait a minute, Erica. Did you see the way Emmett? That was inappropriate. They were too close to each other in that little thrift store, talking face to face. I'm thinking,
oh, him and Keisha. Oh,
yes,
he like Keisha, because he liked Keisha. He wasn't just banging Keisha, but the way his MO was then, it was like, I got my baby mama, I got all these other kids. I think he kind of felt like Keisha's too good for me, so I'm gonna kind of back off of that.
Yeah,
they
spare her.
Kind of like friends, you know.
Yeah. So, and with the way his relationship turned in this episode, the way they were looking at it, listen. Please don't let me have a spoiler. She'll mess around, decide to keep the baby, and Emmett will be the doggone stepdaddy. I said, I hope not.
Okay, this is what I don't get, and you guys are men, and women may not want to hear me say this. Why did he tell her? Why?
Because that's bad writing. I couldn't understand that either.
His daddy was not gonna tell. Dom was not gonna tell. Nobody.
It was on his conscience. It was on his conscience. He had to.
Where did he get a conscience from coming from effing everything that walks in?
Now all of a sudden,
when they were in the bed, when they were having sex, and he kept singing Darnell. She was wondering, okay, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
So he had to say something.
Never ever in life has that happened to somebody.
Has what happened to somebody?
This dude turned himself in.
He turned himself in. He created his own PTSD in the moment.
Yeah, I was like, why?
Never ever has a dude done that.
I respect him for coming clean.
Well, let me ask
you. Just like the show. You don't respect shit. You
just messed up.
No, I respect him for that. I respect him for coming clean.
I'm with you. Bad writing on that one.
He shouldn't have been in the situation in the first place.
It's Emmett, man.
Well, let me ask Eric. Let me ask Erica this: if you were his girlfriend, would you have wanted him to tell you? You think everything is fine?
No.
Yes.
Honestly, no.
Erica is a grown woman. She knows good and well that
because here's the
sometimes
thing.
you don't need to know stuff.
Because but okay, the reason I say no is because of okay, let me first clarify that this is me looking at it from the standpoint of her and what she's been through with him. I don't necessarily think that I would have ever still been with him after all the stuff he's done and all the countless babies and lying and cheating and being a bum and not taking care of your other children and barely doing for mine. But let's just say I was. It's like, man, we finally got it together. We finally got our place. I love this man. I've been through so much with him, yada, yada, yada. I think this is it for us. We can go on and live happily ever after. I really think he's changed. And now this.
Yeah. And you know what?
And honestly, it looks like, I mean, the way he's regretting it, it really seems like he is going to be like on the straight and narrow. Like he's really doing his due diligence. So it's like, why tell her now? Just don't ever do it again.
Yes.
And you'll be fine and live happily ever after.
Now you
went and told her. Now the book is shut.
Well, I mean, she might tell him what you just said now that she hopped on another dick right after she hopped off of his.
Good for her. It's about time she hopped on another one because he's been hopping in and out of cooch for centuries.
So she didn't even wash up or nothing. She just hopped off his dick. Went to the next one.
Hey Jay, how you hear this dude?
I hear him.
Oh, you mean she hopped off of Emmett and went to do that?
Yeah.
Hey, it's getting good.
We don't know.
Good to
don't know the difference.
parents.
Huh?
First, dude at the studio doesn't care, and he's not gonna
No,
know.
don't.
I mean,
no, don't. You don't give a fuck.
I'm gonna say this.
Cool.
You know she has a man. She got a man. She's always hopping off.
He been wanting that. He been wanting that little snatch. He been wanting that.
Look how you talking, man.
Look at this dude. Hey,
if you trying to get at a chick
nowhere in the house.
Then you know she has always just hopped off of it.
Wait, say that again.
If you trying to get at a chick that you know has a live-in man, I'm sorry, they're married now. Then you know she's always just hopped off of it. So you already know what you're getting into.
Yeah, Chuck, snatch that little snatch. Snatch your dick in there.
This dude.
Snatch.
Hey, listen. Here's what happens. I'm okay, not really, but I can understand it. If the show is going slow and it's not a lot happening, you just confess and blow your whole spot up just for some action. But it's a lot of action going on right now. It's a lot of things going on. So this wasn't really, it just confuses the issue. You know, I mean, but I can honestly say this, it is a little bit of a roller coaster because I was mad at Jada for her messing around, but then when I found out she was sick, I felt kind of bad. So that I'll say in a heartbeat, I don't think that was good writing. I think it was lazy just have him confess. You could have maybe if you let him get found out or something. But the fact that I'm emotionally invested, like I get upset or disappointed. So there is some redeemable quality about the writing. I do like that. I do like some of the characters. The weed man in the studio, that guy, he looks kind of janky. So I knew something with, I don't know. Hey, but listen, Jason Weaver, it took me a minute, like, where do I know this guy from?
Again, let's go get Jason Weaver on the show. Let's get little Michael on the show.
Little Michael.
Let's get little Michael on the show. We going to Kansas City. Let's get him on the show.
Man, he killed that role. Like, man, where did you find this dude come in? What up, Joe? Like, this dude, like, he's Chicago for real.
He wasn't. That's the thing. He wasn't acting.
Yeah, you know what? It was very organic. It was very organic. I really like that. You know what? Kevin doesn't acting at all.
He was like, man, I'm at the crib. This is what we do.
That's why it's a little bit frustrating because you have some really good actors on the show. So when the writing is kind of a little bit questionable at times, it's like, somebody just said, "Hey, it's time to go." Okay, just confess, and they just wanted to end the little writing session and got it out of here.
Let's say the writing was off cue, what we were looking for as far as a storyline. Let's just say that. We can't necessarily say it's bad.
They having a fight in the comments. It's a simmer down.
Oh, wait, they are? Who? What?
No. I think he was talking about me when I was talking about Snatch. He was telling me to simmer down.
Wait, hold. Let me pull up. Hold on.
No. No fighting the comments. They're not fighting.
Oh, okay.
No so let's get back to
Hey, Bullets. Did y'all see what Bullets said? Hey, don't post it. My mama's watching. Don't post it.
It was
Bullets though.
It was in the series though. He said it in the series. I'm not gonna repeat it, but he said it don't have no rear view mirror.
That might be the realest statement though.
It is, because he was talking about how Emmett had sex with Lala, and then he had sex with Lala, and Lala was asking, "Well, you don't mind, you don't care." He was like, "Hey, it don't have no rear view mirror, so what's done
like that.
done."
I don't understand why she told that either. That's something they should have taken to their grave.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, she just, I don't know. I did you're right. Emmett is on the straight and narrow now. He seems like he wants to do the right thing. He's finally getting out of his own way. Yeah. And then he does some he has a battle of conscience, and he kind of just tells on himself
at this moment.
And then he didn't even tell her in the right way, because the way he said it was as if it happened yesterday.
Right.
Yeah,
it was before they were even engaged.
Yes.
But he got her thinking like this is going on now. Because that's how it came out.
But wait a minute, the credit is she knows that Lala is messing with your dad. That it would have been a lot of reason not to say that. I don't know. Right. But anyway,
because at this point she would never suspect that he had anything to do with Dom.
Yes.
By Dom being with his father. So it's like
that was an ultimate cover. Yes, he could have rolled that to the wheels. But on another note, Candy looks gorgeous. Candy looks gorgeous in this.
Who is Candy?
Candy is
Candy Burris.
Who is that?
Duda's wife, the mayor's wife.
Man, I don't know these people's name, man. Who
you know what? I was lost. I was lost too. He's
housewife.
Candy Burris, the
housewife.
Real
Escape.
Escape.
Yeah.
Who to I run to? Yeah. Oh
yeah. That one.
Yeah. I thought I would sing again though.
No, he stopped at the door. He stopped at the door and said, he stopped at the door and asked Candy, "Was that a threat?" And she was like, "No, I didn't think it was a threat." Like when he said something like, "Don't."
She
don't
said
do something. Don't get you killed or something.
Damn, I forgot.
It was something like don't do something that'll get you killed. It was something.
Yeah,
like
she
that.
said, "Don't let something get you killed." And he turned around and said, "Is that a threat?" And she said, "No, I'm just trying to protect you." She gonna kill him.
And he said, "I don't need protection. Wherever I go, I'm good."
Yeah, she gonna kill him.
What was it? And he get popped.
Well, we know somebody is, but that's probably why he's acting the way he is. He knows somebody wants to kill him, and that's why he looked at that like, "Is that a threat?" It's like he's paranoid or something.
Or it might be that dude, Joe.
Kill them all. Who cares?
Gemma's father. It might be him. You never know.
They have tension too.
Yeah. He was like, "Man, nigga, don't get a big head. It's too soon for you to get a big head."
Hey T, let me run something past you right quick.
What's up?
Shout out to Mr. Jesse Saunders and his love for the Lakers, but Mom, I'm sorry. 78-45.
My God.
In the third.
Phoenix is smacking them like that. Oh. Sorry, Justin.
I just had to put that out there because man.
Erica, shifting gears.
Now ain't no shifting gears after that.
I guess.
Y'all need to turn the show on.
The shot. You think it's a pretty accurate depiction?
I think it's gotten better. So when it first came on, I was like, nothing about this feels like Chicago at all. Even though it's clearly filmed in Chicago, every scene I see, I'm like, yeah, that's Chicago. I know my city. Even if it's not someplace I've been. You know how you can just tell when it's Chicago? But the characters didn't feel like Chicago. They were not, but now I think it's getting better. But I think they're bringing more Chicago element into it. Like they're having people that are from Chicago play roles, like Jason Weaver. And
Hey, the Pope should be on the show. Where's the Pope?
But like in the beginning, it just nobody seemed like they were from Chicago.
I know what you mean.
But
Yeah,
like
that's true.
now, I do kind of feel like Keisha and Kevin seem like they could really be from Chicago. And then it's like, and also as much as I used to like him as an actor, Eazy-E.
Yes.
His Los Angeles accent was throwing me off too. I'm like, you can't even sound like you're from Chicago. He sounded so California. That threw me off too in the beginning. Like, this isn't Chicago.
Wait a minute. Jake's brother, Reggie, he was Chicago. They killed him. They said he
from Chicago.
He had a couple of interviews after the fact that said pretty much why he was written off the show. There was some. He had some.
It wasn't because of the transgender either.
That's what he said.
It wasn't. That's what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
Nah,
he refused. Then what was it?
It was some Hollywood. It was definitely some Hollywood shuffle stuff. He said he wouldn't do it. Trey said I'll do it. Shuffle. And then they put him right in there. Had a dude that looked like him. Chuck says the Chicago accent is missing. It is on a lot of. That's what I really appreciated about Jason Weaver.
Now, with Tiffany, it's not. With Tiff, it's not. She will make you believe she's from Chicago. She's from Pittsburgh.
Hey, T, if you get a speaking role, we'll know you from Chicago.
Yeah, well.
Wait a minute. Tiff is always around. Who is Tiff?
Tiff is Emmett's wife.
Oh, I don't know. Well, something seems a little janky about her too.
Man, if she will make you believe that, except for you, JI, that she is from Chicago. She speaks like she's from Chicago. She acts like it.
I could believe she was from Chicago.
Huh?
I could believe she was from Chicago. Yeah. I think she's
yeah. Yep. She's from Pittsburgh.
I could believe Emmett. I could believe Emmett is from Chicago.
Close enough, Milwaukee. Yeah. Close enough.
Hey, Erica, I'm lost on this now. This I'm totally lost on. I just figured I wasn't gonna go back and watch it and clear it up. Is Gemma's dad aware that his daughter's having sex? That's weird to me.
Well, up until recently, she wasn't.
Yeah, but
Kevin was her first.
I mean, yeah, but that's what I mean. Is he aware that it's going on now?
How do we know Kevin's her first?
Well, because she asked him to be. I mean, unless she's lying.
Yeah.
But she asked him, will you be my first? So, I mean, but she could be lying. But I don't think that he knows per se. But, I mean, he saw Kevin coming out the window, jumping out.
Paul's got a whole surveillance system set up. So, evidently, this shit has happened before.
But the way that their relationship is set up, I guess because it's just them two, because there's no mom, right? They don't say where mom is, right?
No, they don't say.
To me, he treats her very much like a little lady, like she's grown. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't necessarily know, but is looking at it like, well, she's got to grow up. Like, I don't see him flipping and turning into, don't touch my daughter. That's my baby girl. Like, he doesn't treat her like that.
Yeah, you know what? I get it.
It's almost like they're roommates.
Yes.
Not father and daughter.
Hey, so look, it's getting late. My cup is getting empty. What do we have to look forward to the next episode?
Hold up. Wait.
I want to know. What is the I want to know what's up with Gemma and Jake. I want to know. I want to see what Tiffany is gonna do.
Gemma and Jake.
Emma and Jake.
Gemma.
I'm sorry, Gemma and Jake.
Gemma and Jake.
Hold on. What's going on with them?
What do you mean? Well,
Did you see the last episode?
Kevin got kicked off the damn tour.
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm having to.
Well, did you see the episode before this one when they were playing Otis Redding in the beginning?
I don't think so. No.
So there's
I did.
Go watch it.
Okay, so Kevin sees Jake and Gemma kissing on the steps.
Go watch it, J.I.
You know what I'm talking about when I say the beginning sequence where they're playing Otis Redding and it's all these scenes.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Is of him. Kevin is in a suit. He goes and tries to get in this door, but the door is locked. And then he looks up the steps, and at the top of the steps, Gemma and Jake are kissing.
So how about this? We table this discussion for next week.
Now, listen.
It's about to be 11 o'clock.
All right, that's all over the place again. Like, okay, so the teenagers are.
Man, when you go watch it and you'll see it'll all come together. You'll be like, oh, okay. So just
are you kidding me?
Now it sounds like the shot talking need his own show.
Just watch. It might. We might have to branch off and JB, I don't know if you gonna want to, but sound like
Did you even watch it, John?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched
it, but I was looking for
JB. I don't call you that, but
I watched it because I was looking for T. I'm trying to support my brother.
So you did watch it.
Look hard.
Yes, that's why I said I ain't no PTSD when you're doing what you're doing. Man.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate it.
We don't giving men a bad, we focus on the task at hand. That's hey, my mother's watching, man.
How many Sandra?
Erica, my mom's watching. I gotta tone it down a little.
I understand.
They're respectful.
Erica, you went to Kenwood?
No.
Okay.
Her loss.
Hey,
I went to
about this? How about we give some shout outs and we get out of here?
Sounds good.
That?
Erica, you up first?
I was only on one part of the show. I don't know.
Man, just give some shout outs to
Is anybody watching you talking right
Tiffany
now?
Woody or whoever you want.
Nobody's watching me.
What the hell you on here for if you ain't bring no viewers, man?
Look, Terrence.
Nah, ain't no look.
I wasn't told to bring viewers. I wasn't even told what this was.
Hey, girl, I'm on the show. Come on, watch.
No, John, understand this. This man right here is like a member of my family. And so he treats me as such. So I just got a call last week. You know anything about the TV show The Chi? Yeah, I watch it. Okay, good. You can come on my podcast. All the info I was given. I wasn't even at that moment. I wasn't even given a time. I wasn't given
come on, man.
I wasn't given any of those things until like 30 minutes prior.
Hey, the glass is half full. You came and you
so
conquered.
I'm supposed to bring
Erica, you killed.
Here. Okay. Thank you, John, for telling me.
Yeah, tell your girl to tell her girl to tell her girls to watch the show.
Okay, we'll do.
Kevin jumped out of the bedroom window.
Now that we've got that out the way.
Terrence didn't even tell me to watch the show.
Oh, damn.
Like,
yeah, I did.
I'll text you.
Now you're fibbing.
I'll text you at 9:15 when
you're fibbing. Now you're fibbing.
Watch this.
Last. Oh, this. No, I didn't tell you to watch this.
You didn't tell me to watch last week either.
No, I'm talking about The Chi. I told you to watch The Chi.
Yeah, No, but what I'm
Sound
telling
like she was
John
doing
is,
that anyway.
we're supposed to bring
Hey man,
viewers.
she need to. Hey, her
No,
and her
no,
crew need to
Terrence.
watch the podcast, man.
Terrence, you
What are
don't
talking about?
understand. He don't understand what I was saying. I was telling John that while I'm supposed to bring viewers, Terrence didn't even tell me to be a viewer.
Yeah.
I'm telling him that you didn't even tell me to watch
That's what he's saying.
the
I
podcast.
understand. No.
All right. So let's do
You're
this.
going to tell me to bring viewers
I
when
didn't.
you didn't even tell me to be a viewer.
Okay, so
You
now
be ready or not.
I'll say, okay, bring some people that will bring some
Hey,
people that
Erica,
will bring some people.
Go to YouTube, click subscribe.
No, I know where
Right.
it's at now.
Tell your friends to click subscribe.
Okay.
All right, listen. All right.
Okay, now
here,
give your shout outs.
I didn't even know y'all knew each other.
Okay, that's our shout out.
What?
You said you didn't even know we knew each other. That was your shout out to me and T.
Okay. Shout out to my cousin Tiffany Woody, just because. And because that's how I know Terrence.
That's what's up.
That'll work.
J.I.?
Did you tell her to watch, Terrence?
No.
See?
I'm going to give a shout out to
Your boy not
Bullet.
telling nobody, John. Your boy is not telling nobody.
We're going to have to talk offline. Us four.
See, before I decided to have a shy segment, it was pretty much sports. So I didn't tell people that I know don't really watch any sports. So
I watch basketball.
oh. Okay, well now I know. All right, so J.I., go ahead, man.
Shout out to Bullets. Bullets has definitely been holding us down. He's given us some good insights, some good comments, and some follow-up, some stats with us, helped us out. San 30, she loved her energy. Got to give a shout out to Chuck Mose. What up, Chuck Mose? He seems to be the resident house, the house expert. You know, he told you to simmer down on the snacks. That's what's up. And you know what? Shout out to everybody that's watching. I got a couple of people. My guy Kevin. You know Kevin. I don't think you know Kevin. He from.
I do know Kevin. Used to play for you.
Yeah, Kevin. Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Kev.
Good dude.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's the noobs. Well, shout out to all the noobs watching the show. That's what's up.
Was that a shameless plug?
That is a shameless plug.
So I'll go.
On you, JB. On you.
Of course, shout out to Bullets. That's my boy. Shout out to Curtis Clay. Always checking in, representing Bronco love. Hey, man, shout out to Trey and Jeff, man. How insightful were both of those interviews?
Oh, man, yeah.
Like, man, I'm flipping the notepad like, okay, that's what's up on both sides. Shout out to both of them brothers. Shout out to SB as always. Shout out to Miss Sandra.
Shout out to Miss Sandra.
Moms and her friends that are watching. And my aunt Marilyn. All my family that's steady watching. Hey, thank you for staying up. I know it's a little past y'all bedtime, but you know, hey, we appreciate it. Erica, shout out to you for stepping on. You know,
simmer down, bud.
You over there cheesing, showing all 32, but thank you. We appreciate it. You know, and shout out to our viewers. I know we got some on Facebook that haven't made the transition yet. We love you. We thank you. Go on and move to YouTube. Click that subscribe button, and we'll all get along a lot greater.
Shout out to Frog.
Frog watching?
Shout out to Frog. Not your frog, my frog. Okay.
Oh, your frog. Okay, I'm about to say, because there's two frogs between us.
Yeah, not your frog. Hey, I gotta get up with your frog too.
Well, he ain't my frog no more.
I know. I saw that, man. What the hell going on? I can't keep a good frog.
Hey, we'll talk.
So it's on me. I'm gonna piggyback off of what JB said before I get in my shouts. Everybody, if you watch it on Facebook, we need you to make the transition from Facebook to YouTube, and you don't want to get left out because we got some banging guests coming up. You know, it's football season coming up, and when you know football season's coming up, you know I shine. and they gonna shine too because they got football minds. It's gonna be a good time in here. We're gonna have some banging guests. So please make the transition because we're not gonna broadcast Facebook anymore.
Mhm.
And I'd hate for you to get left out. We got people from overseas
We
that are
do.
going to be guests. So don't miss out. All right, that's enough of that. My shout outs real quick. I do want to shout out the Shits podcast. Those are my dudes. They're a little bit wild, but those are my dudes. The party bus, party bus, party bus. You know, the elements didn't want us to be great the other night because it was cold and it was raining. But, you know, we made it happen anyway. You know, we started out at Tilly's. Shout out to Tilly's, the most supportive business
Shout
restaurant.
out to Sir.
Sir and Gavin and Gavin's sister. I forget her name.
Gavin.
All of them over there. But so that's where the bus started. You know, they took care of us to make sure we had something in our stomach before we got on the bus. Got drunk, whatever. Danced. It was a good time. But the Shits podcast, it was both of those dudes' birthday. Yeah. Monsoon was like a couple days before, but it was Bubba's birthday. So we had a good time. You know, we went from Tilly's to dinner and a movie, 2500 North Ashland. Free shot. Once we got there, we ate again and then left, went back to Tilly's. But yeah, it was a good time, man. So we made it happen, even though it was cold and rainy. Shout out to the Shits podcast and all their people, you know, good people. And everybody got 2 shirts. They got a Clubhouse shirt and they got a Shits podcast shirt. So we had a lot of fun. But shout out to them. Also, White Sox tickets. I got two.
Tell me what we doing with them.
I got 2 of them left.
You had 6.
Yeah. I'm waiting for one more subscriber for YouTube.
Okay.
If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, do it now. Then bring 3 buddies. I give you the tickets. But the game is Sunday, so you got to move fast. The game is Sunday afternoon against the Detroit Tigers.
Always a good game, Sox in Detroit.
Always. Yep. So you got to move fast.
And first place Chicago White Sox tickets.
First place White Sox.
Come on, people. First place Chicago White Sox tickets.
And you seen the videos of how the CCP gets down when we get outside. You've already seen the videos of how we kick it. So if you want to have a good time, subscribe to YouTube, bring 3 buddies, get these Sox tickets. Let's go. Shout out to Plunked. They did an episode. Well, Emilio did an episode from the Sox game the other day.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. It was dope. It was dope. He went out there.
Was that the Giolito game? 7-inning went 1 overtime?
No, that was the game against Baltimore.
Okay, against Baltimore. Okay, no, that was a kill shot.
Yeah. But he went out there with his brother and took his son. That was so cute. But he did some food reviews too, because you know the food at the ballpark be banging. It just costs so much.
Comiskey have some dope sausage, dope nachos. They fried ice cream little deal in the baseball hat is dope. Like, man, hey T, what I got to do to get them tickets, man? I'm just trying to,
Man, I asked all of you all if you want to come.
What time is the game?
And nobody said shit.
Hey.
Sorry. Sorry.
What time is the game?
Man, we've been saying shit all night.
I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about what time the game is.
Game is I believe 120. I think.
Irv, we might have football to play.
Yeah, y'all still be playing football.
I definitely have a game.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Erica, you can go.
Erica ain't gonna go. She ain't gonna go to no baseball.
I'm getting my hair done.
Yeah.
So
You get your hair did?
Dang, Erica hit him with the no, Goofy. I'm getting my hair done on a Sunday. Believe that if you want to.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Saturday.
Hey, Terrence.
I thought you said Saturday.
Right.
Saturday.
Hey,
get your hair done on a goddamn Sunday afternoon.
Hey,
No,
Terrence.
I thought you said Saturday. I thought you said Saturday.
No, Erica knew whatever day you said the game was, I'm getting my hair done then.
Tuesday, get my hair did. August 13th.
I actually enjoy baseball games, but
August 13th. What's August 13th?
I'm being facetious, man. Don't pay no mind to me.
Oh, okay.
But I am gonna be real with this.
What?
Miss Sandra just texted me and said, Sox tickets?
Get him tickets to Miss Sandra.
Because she is a Sox fan. All the way from Harold Baines, Rudy Law, Ron Kittle, 84.
Wow.
Yeah. Mom's is a Sox fan. She
Kittle
subscribers.
Did you know Ron Kittle was on the he was on the podcast last baseball season. Ron Kittle was on the podcast. Check it out, Miss Sandra. Check it out. But
you want to know what get them tickets.
I got to shout out my number one fan, Lisette. She told me, well, you all already know. She told me if I only have one subscriber, I know it's her because she gonna leave the TV on. She may not watch, but she gonna leave the TV
it's
on.
Gonna be on, right?
At least one.
That's love, Lisette.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
A shout out to her. And I guess that's the end of my shouts. But yeah, if anybody wants these 2 tickets, man, subscribe, bring 3 buddies. Let's go.
Say less.
All right. I want to fill my cup now.
Mom said done.
Oh.
And it's 11:13. Hey, okay.
It's this Sunday?
This Sunday. This Sunday, I will transfer tickets out of my phone. Because they don't give you a paper ticket anymore. They don't.
You just got a little code,
I do want to shout out my guy, Light Skin Kev. He did win those first 2 tickets. He subscribed to himself and then brought 3 more. I actually counted them on YouTube, and he told me who they were. So
that's what's up. Thank you, Light Skin Kev.
Shout out to Light Skin Kev, definitely. You know Light Skin Kev, Eric. Golf is life.
Went to Leo.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Light Skin Kev.
Yeah.
All right, we done. So next week we will pick up the conversation where we left off. Yes, no, yes, no.
Yes, sounds good.
Well, not next Tuesday, because next Tuesday is ladies' night.
Oh yeah. How could I forget? Thank you.
What?
Just like a chauvinist. I'm sorry. No,
I got your back, T. I got your back.
I see. Appreciate it, man. Yes, next Tuesday is the ladies' takeover. So I don't know exactly who they're having as guests, aside from Emma V. She plays can we call it professional football?
It is. Yes.
Okay. Professional football for the Chicago Blitz.
Yes.
And she's a bodybuilder.
And she's a bodybuilder. She is a bodybuilder. I do know that for sure. And she will be on, and Bria Griffin, Montel's daughter. Yeah, she's a hooper overseas. Hooper.
That's what's up.
Professional.
She will be on. And then I guess they'll talk about. Will they talk about the shot? I don't know. Erica, I'm not sure if they're gonna do that next week. But
Okay.
when we come back, we gonna talk about it. So,
But
what am I forgetting?
6'9".
God damn it! How could I forget on 6'9"?
That's a big one.
That is
That's a big one, bro.
Miss Jean Sparrow. How could I fucking forget that?
Jean Sparrow.
Hey,
Sparrow.
nobody don't remember growing up in the backseat listening to Gene Sparrow.
Man, how could
If you didn't, you really not from Chicago.
Can't be. Can't be. Oh, I'm charged up
Mad
about
when they
Miss
took
Jean.
her off in the morning. I used to watch her in the morning.
Hey, Gene Sparrow.
Yeah,
was-
with Melissa
was that
Foreman,
deal.
right? With Melissa Foreman, you watched on CIU.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Then they
yeah.
replaced
I
it with
did
that
too.
nonsense.
Morning and me, or me and morning,
Yeah,
or something,
me in the morning.
some shit like
Me in the
that.
morning,
Yeah,
right?
that's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I used to like that show.
JI, you gonna make that one, man?
I'll definitely be there. Jean Sparrow. We like this.
On, on the Wednesday?
Listen, I'll move some stuff around.
Because I know you be funny acting about Wednesdays.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. She a Chicago legend.
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 All letters capital.
Can't
Okay.
wait to speak to her.
All right. She been asking about me.
Not as much as Kendra G.
Ooh, hey.
I ain't even scheduled nobody else on that night.
Hey, my bad.
We
Yeah,
just
I know.
gonna give Miss Jean the whole show.
Are you kidding me? I live in the doghouse. This guy over here. Tell me something.
All right, man. Let's get up out of here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one.
It has been great
Yeah.
show. Really
Great
appreciate
show.
it. Nice meeting you, Erica.
Nice meeting you too.
Listen, hopefully, when we come back, Emmett will have his family back together if that's what he wants.
Wait. Before we sign off, shout out to everybody in the chat and SP. Can't forget SP, super producer.
Super producer. Yeah, I ain't seen Tanya. What's up, Tanya?
Okay, now we out. The show where we think we know everything, but we don't know shit. We don't know shit. But our guests always do. We out.